I have a lot of content recorded. I just kind of need to organize it, and then with the electroculture this summer, it'll be rolling out. So
Yeah.
thank you for everyone that has subscribed already. It's coming. It won't stay a blank page forever.
Exactly. Right. Building it.
Really, anytime you're on, I'm like, yes, I pay attention, and I'm zeroed into when you speak.
Aw, thank you.
Absolutely.
You are all awesome, and thank you all for joining in. Any last things to discuss and show before we all go?
I planted seeds to a garden, but there's not going to be any results to that for like a couple weeks.
It takes time, of course. Of course. And I'll be doing another episode here probably maybe tomorrow, most likely Sunday. Oh, shout out Drew. Good to see you, brother. Feel free if you want to jump in. I can post the link. Keep it going a little bit. Julia, did you want your boyfriend to talk about a little bit, introduce his history?
Here, Chris, here.
Oh, you already gave away his name. You messaged me beforehand. His name is Dark Star.
Aliases only.
Hello. How's it going?
Welcome. Good day, Chris. Nice
How
to
are you
meet
doing? I'm over here battling with this Mac computer.
Oh,
battle.
Right? Yeah.
Mac battle.
It was a second-hand Mac computer.
Oh.
And so far, it's giving me nothing but a bad time.
Oh, what's the battle? Let's walk through real quick.
It's other than like, I'm not really sure. I'm not like a big Mac guy, but it looks like the caches are full and the memory is probably full, so it's running super slow. So
what year?
It's a 2010, I think. MacBook Pro.
Okay, you have. All right, I recognize that series. You've got a standard size 2.5 inch HDD. You got the thick one. It's probably a Hitachi or a Toshiba brand in that unit. And are you?
It's a Hitachi.
Yeah, are you having hard drive issues where it's just simply not booting?
It's not even that it's not moving. It's just like, it just loads extremely slow and it has a hard time downloading. And like I said, I had got this secondhand, so I didn't really know. I'm just trying to clear files on it. But yeah, it has something that has to do with that disk. Is I think it's full. I think its memory is full. And
if the disk is full, it's not going to be able to work correctly. That's for sure. So you're going to absolutely want to clear out. If it's used already, and the files that are on it were not yours,
no,
then you might as well completely reset it. So Mac has a built-in function with iOS to fully reset your system from whatever operating system it's on, and you can then do a full reboot. So you might want to look up instructions for which version of iOS you have.
Yeah, it's 10.4.
OS X. Sorry, not iOS, OS X.
Oh, okay.
10.4, you said?
I think it's 10.4, 10.6, whatever that one is. Like I said, I just got this. I can't even remember. I don't know. I barely mess with it. They say that this is like the easier version or something made for user friendly, and to me, this thing is like foreign material compared to like
Macs don't work anything like Windows at first, so they can be really cumbersome when you first get onto them because the layout is very much like Unix. I mean, it's kind of based off the Unix operating system, but also keep in mind that Unix is still the primary standard for all servers in the world up to this point, and regardless of new implementation, it's based on an operating system that's so solid it runs the industry. So once you get used to it, it's quite nice.
True. Definitely true.
But just run the automated reset stuff. Basically, reset it to a starting point. When you do that, it's going to ask you for an Apple ID when you first set it up, and somebody's going to have to either make one or already have one. You can log in with that. But at that point, it's going to clear out, or what it's really going to do is it's going to set a partition over all of the old data and tell your computer to rewrite it with absolutely no hesitation as it goes on. So it'll treat all the written parts of the drive as if they're completely blank. And that way you don't have to ever see the old data. It's not going to slow it down, and it'll have plenty of hard drive space to temporarily write stuff that can't fit on the RAM.
Excellent. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
I will work on that. Here's Jules. Nice meeting you guys.
Nice to meet you. But before you go, Chris, I heard you did stuff. What was the message that you were military contractor stuff? Worked in defense for a bit. Anything to share on the UFO UAP?
Yeah, I was subcontract. I worked for Swift Engineering in San Clemente, California, and our sister company was Raytheon. So we had a lot of, and it was primarily my job was weapons and communications integration into a UAV platform that we were working on for a tier 2 contract for the Navy at the time, which they did ultimately win through Raytheon, and they actually there was 2 competing platforms. Raytheon's was actually the one, so they actually took all the research and booted it over there. But when I was working with Raytheon, yeah, I got to see some really cool stuff. They had everything was really extremely, under wraps as far as top secret stuff, the testing, the flying, the firing, everything, all the other stuff that was integrated into it. But yeah, there was some technology there that was explained to me as when I was, because due to the fact that they would come in with briefcases full of stuff, open it up and be like, okay, you make this fit into the plane, but I would need to know exactly how it worked and what it did so that it didn't mess up the attitude for it, or if it needed some kind of stabilization system, whether it be electronic or manual or whatever. And then how it would interact with the plane and the guidance system, because it was all based on a waypoint flying system. So it wasn't actually a manual control like the Predator or whatever, or some of these other ones. It was all done by waypoint. So there was a lot more backlog, information that we needed. And essentially I got this thing one time that they didn't give it a name. It was just Object 1, and it was an octagonal shaped black object. It had no seams or no rivets, no fasteners of any kind. And when you touched it, it had almost looked like one-dimensional diamond-shaped fins on it you would touch it and they would collapse, and then they would pop back up again. You know what I mean? And reinstate the form that it was originally. And I guess this thing had
happened almost instantly when you bent them over, and they
it was like if you were to touch a flower that would retract and then open back up again. So it would you would touch down, you would touch it with barely any force, and it would lay down, and it would have an indentation of where your fingerprint was, and all these little tiles would lay down, and then they'd reform back up into their original, come back up to the original position. And what this thing did was it had, so it mounted, there was basically the system that I worked on. It ran in the platform was a three UAV design, where one of them was in charge of targeting, one of them was in charge of was weaponized, and the other one was in charge of communications, jamming and countermeasures and stuff like that. And that's what this thing was. And apparently they could. So this was during. It's been going on obviously, but during the second time we went into Afghanistan, essentially. And so that what they were using it for was to try and locate, at that time, bin Laden and other top Al-Qaeda or whatever, anyways, high value targets, using their sat signals from their satellite phones, because they would turn them on for a second, give an order, and then shut it down. And apparently this thing, I didn't see it work. I just knew that it had to be shielded in a certain way, that they provided materials for that so that it wouldn't interfere with the navigation system on the vehicle. But apparently it could isolate in the city the size of Baghdad. It could jam with with the support services, jam the entire cell network or whatever frequencies that their cell phones are running on or whatever, isolate a satellite signal, and then in real time, apparently it could intercept the caller's voice, and they could implement that voice without a delay somehow to the recipient of that call to either help make him expose himself or make him expose themselves for targeting and elimination, or to isolate that number and then continue to track it, and you know what I mean, and then they would go into an automatic flight pattern, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
just
just to clarify, exactly. When you say expose themselves,
so they could do all this other stuff, and basically I was like, well, so when we're doing the paperwork,
come outside, show up on camera, that kind of thing. Basically, make them act in a certain way where they can identify whether their target is actually the person you're talking to.
So just to be clear, not exposing themselves.
Not in a perverted kind of way.
I asked them where it was from, because we had to do paperwork and all this stuff due to the fact that everything had to be documented, obviously, or whatever.
Can I just say, Julia, you're looking gorgeous today.
Oh, is that Luke? Luke, is that you?
It
Yes,
is. Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, Luke.
Hello.
I miss you.
I'm not on camera because I look disgusting.
Oh my God, I miss you.
Yeah,
she
should be sitting here. I should be just talking. But anyways, it said it came from somewhere else. You know what I mean? And we would test all the time at Yuma, the Yuma, Arizona test site. And like I said, with Raytheon in LA, I talked to the Raytheon guys, who I worked with every day for like 18 months or whatever. And I would go to lunch with them and everything. And they were, so to the UFO question. So basically, yeah, they were implementing, they would hint at it all the time that they were implementing technology that was basically recovered or somehow recreated. And then they specifically though said that they have, because they work directly with like Northrop Grumman and all that, and a bunch of people like that. And they said they've actually been, the one technician I work with that actually been to like jump rooms, I guess. He explained it as basically like you go into the facility of once you get in there and everything, but once you're down to the actual device, it's like you open a door and you shut it and you walk through another door, and you go from like being in El Segundo, California to like Sydney, Australia, by just the opening and closing of like two different doors. I mean, it's not,
damn.
Yeah. So I mean, he swore in it like up and down, and he also said, I mean, they were talking about stuff like different type of propulsion systems, different type of ionic propulsion systems, stuff that had to do with mercury.
Get out. Keep on going.
Yeah, they have. Well, yeah, like some mercury reactors, stuff like that, and anti-gravitational. But mostly, basically, it was a field. You know, it was more or less a field that would pull whatever it encompassed through not push, but actually pull it through. Through to the whatever it's going, wherever it's going at that point, and it didn't matter really at all, I guess, of the density of the environment it was in, whether it was air or water or had gravity or not gravity. But also,
dude, this got epic real quick.
Yeah,
damn. And Bernie can definitely see it.
Right,
this got epic real quick. We should have had you on before. This is great. Great.
Yeah, please do continue.
Oh, yeah,
I just got to step away for a minute, but I'm going to be listening. And Chris, tell us everything, because you're doing an epic job.
I mean, like I said, they have, it's, I guess, like, there was a lot of stuff. They were saying, like, again, this all came mostly from the guys that worked at Raytheon itself. And then, like, we would do what's it called, like show at San Diego Convention Center. We do these shows like UAV shows and stuff like that. And so then I met more people, and then, you know what I mean, we would go out to, we'd be stuck there for the weekend or a week or whatever, doing these presentations and fielding questions and everything. And so then I started, I started meeting these guys. They started talking about more stuff and about all kinds of things. One of the things they were doing were one of the some of the topics that came up were materials that were manufactured not here, you know what I mean, but in you know what I mean, and somewhere
like in somewhere variety of those that can be made only in a 0G environment.
Yeah, the vacuum of space, exactly. The temperatures in the vacuum of space, and how different alloys, essentially the pure, just the fact that they had tests on purity of alloys that were like beyond what could be essentially apparently forged here, but more or less, more even so than that, they were talking about dealing with materials essentially like, I heard you guys touch on consciousness earlier, and about how these things are like like the metal is being essentially impregnated with a consciousness of the pilot, essentially of the craft, and it would be linked. They would be linked together. Apparently, was what he was saying for the lifetime of that, and I guess there was a symbiotic relationship there where they were, like psychically or whatever. It could be called, the craft could be called in or out, and
consciously controlling
the material sciences meeting the metaphysics, so to speak.
Dude, this is some Gundam level stuff right here. Let's face it.
Gundam level. Oh yeah, or Evangelion. Take your pick.
Yeah,
what's the preference?
Yeah,
I would say more like on the Evangelion, because it gets all into the mythos of, if you've seen it, you've seen it.
Yeah, basically they're connecting psychologically, spiritually with their craft as a pilot, and they're now.
But not only that, the weird thing is, and I know that Japan loves to focus on young people, but if you look at some of these Black Ops programs from the past, they were remolding very, very young people. So I thought that was interesting.
By the way, this is really off topic, but just to go back to that
the craft was forged, and it was almost like not stable at first, and they used some type of frequency tuning, like to like, in order to train this thing, I guess, as it came out of the forging process of it, or whatever they would call that, the creating process of it. And then I guess apparently at the same time we were saying something about how the pilot, whoever they selected at that point, was at the same time being taught, like they were learning together, and then at some point there was a connection, and then they were able to fight. And so they went when they were able to fight.
Are you saying that
a lot of these people that are like abducted and stuff, they speak of like their experiences of how certain bloodlines, or like they cannot there's these certain beings cannot operate the craft. It's almost like they inherited them, or they came across them and they're now needing to operate them, but that only certain bloodlines are only able to pilot these crafts. That's what makes
epigenetics is a real phenomena, meaning that changes within an experience of one's lifetime can indeed make small modifications to which parts of the genetic structure.
And if you repeat that over several generations, then it gets pretty hardwired in.
Yeah. Do you reckon that's connected to the hybrid theory, different kind of like, do you think that's connected to like different species and like a hybrid kind of model, where
I'm thinking of, I've heard of specific families being chosen, and they're part of the Navy, and it's not affecting everyone that goes into the Navy, but these specific families, they go through things that other people in the Navy do not go through, some really intense stuff, being drugged and drowned, and then being brought back from the brink of death. And I have so much empathy.
Do you think it would be
for
racist if we were to like talk about what certain races of aliens
this is something they're intentionally doing to certain families to build certain types of soldiers.
Because like I want to talk about the lizards, but I feel like I'd
probably stay out of the ethnics issue.
No, but as in, like, if I'm talking about lizards, and I'm like, oh, the lizards do this. Is that racist?
Animal
Lizards.
species and humanoid
Well,
species, 100%.
We're getting
Because I'm telling you,
specious.
right? From
That's
the lizards
specious,
I
not
know,
not
the
ethnic.
lizards
Yeah.
I know are lazy, and they're basically communists.
Okay.
I
Like, they're
wouldn't doubt
really
that animal
lazy,
behavior might
like,
mimic
fully
something that
lazy.
has a political connotation. I mean, we see there's this geez, I can't remember what the name of this show is.
I'm going to just be honest here and say I don't know the political orientation of lizards. So
they're lazy. They just want to chill.
It's because they're cold-blooded, right? That's what you're getting.
I mean, are we talking
No, I'm
about
serious. They're just lazy.
are we
Like,
talking about a pet iguana, or are we talking about?
No, like lizard people, right? Their nightmare
Oh, and now we're
would be
talking
like,
something
right?
different. I thought you were talking about hierarchy within the animal.
If you were going to imprison a lizard, you'd make him work at like Sainsbury's.
I
or
mean,
Tesco,
I've seen lizards on the ground chilling. And,
well, I'm sure they.
But
hate
I
Tesco
never
as well,
thought that
but...
they were communists. You know, they're just lizards.
No, I'm serious. They hate work, right? They come from a place where work is nothing to them, so they see it as
they
like,
hate it so much that you can cut off their tail and it grows back, right? So
you can cut off their arm and they don't die. It's mental.
I'm sorry.
No, I tell you what, I'm not going to go down for
maybe there are certain reptilian species on Earth, and you can cut off their arm. All I know is about the tail, and I know nothing of political orientation, and I will leave it at that. Okay,
everyone's got it wrong. They honestly, they're so lazy. They would not even bother with like trying to, invade. They'd just be like, bro, give me an island.
Well, if I see an iguana in my dreams tonight, I know who to thank. So,
well, trust it. He's probably lazy. Ask him if he wants to sleep. Probably wants to sleep. Everyone assumes that lizards are like, the sneaky ones in, working behind the scenes. But I'm telling you, they are not. They just want to chill. Someone else is doing that stuff.
So who do you suggest who do you suggest is actively ancient Historia?
Actively a lizard?
No. You said they're chilling.
Yeah, they're chilling. They chill. They don't.
Okay,
they're not
so
involved.
who be actively or
Well, you won't know because they just want to chill. Like, they're not going to have a job, right? They hate
I'm asking
jobs.
you who isn't chilling. Who isn't chilling?
Like everyone else. Like, think about humans. They just work all the time. And you say to a human, like, what if I take your job away? And they're like, oh no, what will I do?
Well, a lot of people got to. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway,
but I'm saying aliens.
Unemployment amongst the iguana and lizard community is at an all-time high as lizards seek jobs but can't find work.
Yeah, but no, they don't want jobs, mate. They hate jobs. They're
lizards. They don't need jobs.
Why? No, they're just people.
Meanwhile, the homeless community continues to collect flies with vehemence.
Yeah, right. They come here because it's boring where they are. They got nothing to do, and they want to come and chill with us because we're crazy.
If I was a lizard, I'd be bored as hell too. I'd probably escape my captivity. If a human was owning me, I'm not down with slavery. I'd be out of there.
Well, no, yeah, they're not they're not pets. They're people. It's just a person.
Problems in suburban wooded communities.
Like, imagine if you woke up tomorrow with like wings, you'd still be you. That's just a lizard person. It's just it's consciousness in another body.
Wait, are you talking about dragons now?
No, actual lizard people. People with
no, you said imagine waking up with wings.
Oh well, yeah, it's a hypothetical. Or teeth, sharp teeth or claws or something. I don't know. You'd still be you. You're not going to wake up and be like, oh, I've got claws. Now I'm going to go forage.
Well, if I was waking up with wings and I also was, like a reptilian, I'm thinking dragon, and the first thing I'd want to do is go and find the most vulnerable village and then breathe fire down into it and take the goats and all of the herd animals.
Are you sure you won't have like a crisis as you stare in the mirror?
Protect and destroy. You'd want to protect and destroy.
See, you're imagining it. You're like, oh, I get wings.
I guess I'd go looking for treasure too. Treasure as well.
Okay, so your two things: you'll kill everyone and then get treasure because you've got wings.
If I was a dragon,
I think that says a lot about you. Because if I was a dragon, I'd just be like, oh, I'm a dragon.
Well, no, I'm actually just referencing the mythology. If I was a dragon, I think I'd be pretty disturbed because the day before I had been a human. The day before I had been a human, and then the next day I wake up as a dragon. I'd be like, "What is going on?" But I can fly, so I'd probably
imagine if all
fly
the
away
family
from
were
this
like,
place.
"Look at her, she's horrible, fuck her." You'd be
Yeah,
like, "It's me, it's just me."
people wouldn't like that. Yeah, I guess I would just fly away.
So imagine how
I don't
lizards
actually want to
feel.
hurt people.
Imagine if you're like a lazy lizard that does fuck all, and you're just sat home and you see on the
Hold
TV
on.
people like,
It's not a
these
lazy
horrible
lizard with
lizards are taking
wings.
over.
Oh,
And he's like,
okay.
I'm just lazy.
I can't imagine
I'm
being a lazy lizard with wings. I have to have enough energy to use those wings to fly. So I can't be the laziest lizard around.
Well, do you want the biggest head fuck, right? Is that like, I don't know the percentages, but a good portion of like our species aren't really our species, like, and they don't even know. They think they're human, but they're not. So like, that's gonna be a big head fuck when someone like turns around. They're like, "Oh, Steve, do you still love me even though I'm a lizard?" He's like, "No, you're horrible now." That'd be grim. They're just people in lizard skin, and they're lazy.
There's like some people say that a percentage of people, when they're overtaken by something, there's a percentage of people that do inhabit that consciousness and that it overtakes them.
Well, as in, like, I'm being like fully serious. Like, imagine a process.
I'm being dead serious.
When you see me or I see you, like, how do you know that I see the same face that you see in the mirror?
Right. I don't know. I can't verify that.
Exactly.
I cannot verify what you see.
But that's okay if it's different, because the behaviors are what we really accept about people in our lives. If their behaviors are in concert with the kind of people we want to be around, learn from, live with, and communicate with, then it doesn't really matter what their blue or their green or their view or their perspective looks like, as long as basically there's a symbiotic relationship by choice from both parties. It's good. And quite frankly, I'm biased towards bipedal creatures. So that being said, don't really care if it's got scales or skin, as long as we can communicate clearly.
Isn't some of the oldest in all of the different cultures and everything, they all have these depictions of dragons?
Yeah, and I'm telling you that everyone's like, "Oh, they're scary," and they just want to sleep.
Well, that's why they got those caves.
Fully, like, you'll meet one and you'll be like, "This guy's a dumbass." He just wants to sit there and smoke weed all day. That's who he is.
Well, they say that they're very protective and very, I don't know, sexual, and that like they can be around a human female and like give them an orgasm with their mind. Like they have very strong.
That sounds nice.
Right?
We're gonna get one of those.
Didn't they cover that in Star Trek?
And the thing is,
Deanna Troy get some kind of vase or something?
Is it limited to just humans, or are they just walking through the park giving every animal a fucking great time?
The thing is about the mantis beings, they say they're like about the anesthesiologists, like their telepathy is like the anesthesiologist of those different types of beings, that they could be by you and stun you like with their mind, that they're a grade up above the reptilians, the insectilians, like the insectoids, the mantis beings, that they're able to use their mind and numb you to where you don't feel a thing, where surgical things can be done to you. But with their telepathy, as long as they're nearby and they're doing their mental thing, you don't feel a thing. So they're actually a grade above the reptilians.
Oh, man. Nice. Good quote. Good quote. Okay, I'm done. I'm out. After that, there's nothing really to contribute. Oh, this got ridiculous.
I'm just saying, right? I reckon it gets to a point where like half of us find out that we're like fish or something,
Or the females find out how to mitigate like the reptilian mindgasm with the way to be numb with the.
This is all you want, isn't it? You just want that orgasm power. So any lizards out there, you hit me up.
Yep. Wait, are you saying you're a lizard? You got that mind thing going on?
Literally, I do.
No, I'm way too lazy to be a lizard.
I do want to attract people with certain advanced abilities, though. I do. That is like a thing that I want.
I'm just saying, like, I think this is what's gonna happen. Everyone will meet a lizard, and they'll be like, "Whoa, you have special powers," and this dude will just be like, "No, can you just fuck off? I want to like smoke this spliff." And they'll be trying to do tests on him, and he'll just be like, "Fuck
Hey
off."
man, that's kind of how I feel, but I don't think I'm a lizard.
Well, exactly, because they're
I
just
feel
people.
like anybody given powers. Okay, the thing is you're given powers. The people that are given powers are the people that don't want to abuse it. Okay, so you're gonna feel like that. You're gonna feel like a rep. You're gonna feel like you're describing
the
what
way to see
I'm a
it.
reptoid that isn't. I'm fucking lazy. When really it's an account of I don't want to abuse these gifts and abilities I've been blessed with, which is why
Well, I mean,
I'm blessed with.
they're like super communists that have just kind of done everything, so it's kind of boring for them, So they come to Earth and they watch us do this, and they're just like, but fuck it, That's why they call Jesus the Good Serpent. Pretty certain he was a lizard.
And a communist, apparently.
Oh, he actually was. He was an Essene Jew, which they were fully communist. Like I'm not kidding. They had this thing where if you were to go to like a new village, you'd find someone from your religion, and they'd house you, clothe you, bathe you, feed you. It's just what they did. Like if you have two shirts and I have
Well,
no
that
shirt,
sounds more
you
like
give
a
me one.
cult, and we need to like separate the difference between a cult and communism.
No,
Well, I
liminal.
mean, yeah,
Look
it
at
was
the
kind of.
Essenes, their information is really elevated. Like it is the 7 Essene mirrors. I mean, it should be instilled in us in kindergarten, like literally. I mean, it's the best information next to hermetics that could benefit humanity. And
Well, I
it's
mean, mate, humanity is actually fucked, right? Genuinely, we are fucked, right? From birth, we send our kids to a school that just trains them to be like little
Diminutive.
drones. Yeah, they domesticate them. Yeah, exactly. And then they just carry on their lives. Like I said before, right? Loads of people at the prospect of losing their jobs. Obviously, this is the money side. Forget that. But they're actually like, oh, what would I do with my day? And it's like, bro, you can do what you want. And they're like, I don't know what I want.
Wait,
Like,
hold on. Genghis Khan speaks of if you want to destroy a generation, you know what they do? You know what you do? You give them alcohol and you give them where they don't have to work for anything. You give them convenience and they will destroy themselves. If they don't have to go out and work or anything and they have alcohol, they will destroy themselves. It doesn't take 5 generations to do that. It takes like 2 or 3.
I mean, I wouldn't say that was something that definitely happens though, because well, maybe it does, maybe you're right, but in the future, when like imagine everything is automated, I'd imagine that the outcome you'd want, yeah, you probably would get this kind of convenience lifestyle if you let it happen, this narcissistic kind of what we've got now, really, but worse. Or you could have it the other way, where like people actually, they might party for the first year or two, but then they start actually meditating and like wanting to explore themselves because like there's nothing else to do. And maybe we reach a point where we all, delve into ourselves. Because at the moment we're the opposite. Nobody delves into who they are. You know what I mean? They're just working all the time, and you finish work
That's
and you
what
want
phones are for. It's a distraction to keep you from getting to know you and to diving into yourself and how you communicate with your higher self. Really.
Well, work's the biggest one. Like my friend, I'm bored all the time. I message him like, "Come chill with me," and he's just working like all the time. And he works in a shop doing 40 hours a week, right? Horrible hours, just working in a shop. And I'm just sat there like, I just want to chill with my mate. I just want to go and have fun, visit places, go to Wales or something. But he's just stuck in this horrible system, and it's like, sad.
We're all slaves to something, right? I'd rather be a slave to my higher self.
Well, this is actually why Jesus was a revolutionist, right? So they twisted it in the Bible a bit. You know the story of him like throwing over the money counters in the temple? You must have heard about him going in and being like, "You can't trade in my father's temple."
Flipping up the table.
Yeah.
Hold money upside down.
Yeah, so that was actually.
I like to focus on like when he was known as Issy, and like
Yesy, yeah.
Like later years that you don't really hear much about.
Well, literally, right. So the reason he got crucified is because that was an uprising. He got all these boys and was like, "Buy swords, we're taking the temple," and they tried to, but it failed. And his son got captured by the Romans, which is a guy called Jesus Barabbas, which is son of the master. So they traded Jesus, the older one, for his son, and that's why he got crucified. Yeah, a lot of people don't know because the Roman Catholics have changed the story a lot.
Well, symbol on like Joseph's like how it's like a ramp. Maybe I don't know. We'll talk about that off air.
But well, it's like, you know, Joseph was a Roman. His dad was a Roman. He's called something like Joseph Tiberius Pater or something like that. But yeah, he was actually a Roman, which is nuts. And his wife, Mary Magdalene, was of the like the Cleopatra family, and she was actually black. So it's crazy.
I was listening to an exorcist speak of his testimony of his experiences, and they were taking like live questions to him, and he was speaking about, you know, because they were really doubtful of, you know, oh, you know, how do you know it's a demon, and what are your experiences? And they were very doubtful and critical. And he was saying his experiences and answering them. But it was interesting to me that a lot of these people, they saw Mary, even if they were never exposed to Catholicism or Mary or knew who Mary was, they saw this woman in the way that they described her. And it's always towards the end of their possession. Towards the end of their possession, when the demon was leaving them, or whatever apparition was inside them and was leaving them, they all saw this woman and described this woman that was the same. And they all said the same thing, which is, it's over. The woman that appeared said, it's over now. It's over.
Oh, Jesus. That made me like almost going to a DMT trip.
Ooh, that's what I'm looking for, Luke. That's what I'm looking for, because that really resonated hard.
Well, hey, if you want to talk about resonation, how mad is this? That Patera thing I just told you about, Pantera. So I found that out like 2 days ago that his dad was called Pantera. So I was obviously, so Jesus was Jesus Pantera. And I was telling my friend about him trying to take over the temple. So my friend was like, oh, this guy was a bit of a revolutionist. And he sends a song to me saying, this is Jesus. And the song's name is like something like, My Name is Revolution. And the band is Pantera. So I was like, bro, do you know about Pantera? And he was like, no, what are you talking about? So I was like, that's Jesus' second name. And he's literally just said, this is Jesus, you know, my name is Revolution. And I was like, bro, if Jesus has spoken, that's it. Like, how could you do that? The band is Pantera. That's Jesus' second name. That's amazing.
Heck yeah.
Honestly, absolutely crazy. But has anyone else got any Jesus-related stuff? Or should we get back to science?
Well, some people think Jesus was a mushroom.
That the oils too, that like Mary would take marijuana. She would extract certain because there's over 73 essential oils in marijuana. She extracted, and it had this formulation that she extracted that, and that's what she rubbed on Jesus's feet. And she knew about that knowledge, and she was extremely wealthy. And you know,
yeah, that's because she was a princess.
For me, it makes me angry, but passionate. Like, not where I'm like super pissed, but it gets me angry, and it's just really fiery to know that all the women were removed out of the Bible. You know?
Yeah, 100%. What they did,
but the ones that are left, they make it like a horror prostitute.
Yeah. That's what they did with Mary, and you see sometimes.
And not only that, but the angels. You only hear about male angels. You never hear about female angels. You only hear about male angels. Like, oh, they came down to basically have sex with the females. Like, there's no.
I thought they had a choice on whether they wanted to be gendered one way or the other. You know, I thought they were originally presented as androgynous.
But if that's the closest you get to God, why would they all choose male? If literally, if you're
the Roman Catholics,
these are fables and ideas that were written by males. That's why.
Right, I'll tell you. So the original Christianity didn't have any of this sexism, right? Okay, in fact, like, to be a rabbi, you actually had to be married. They had some crazy stuff. You couldn't have a body disfigurement. So if you got stabbed and had a scar, you couldn't be a rabbi anymore, right? So that's why, obviously, after Jesus' crucifixion, as well as having to leave Rome, that's why he handed the position over to James the Just, which is his brother, and he told everyone to follow James, right? Because he was the rabbi, so he had to be married, right? He had to be. So Mary was definitely his wife. And they, like you said, they changed it to be she was this prostitute that he kind of hung around. She was literally a princess from, her dad was like king of Nibia, and I think he was called like King Jubi or something like that. And her mom was
Egypt, you said? She was a princess
Yeah.
from Egypt?
Yeah, like her mom was from Egypt. They were Cleopatra
Whoa.
family. Like she's literally, her mom's from the Cleopatra family. One of her mom was like Cleopatra 7 or something. And her dad was King, I want to say Jubia of Namibia. But yeah, she was really rich. Like, you know, she was an important person. And they change it completely. They cut it out.
No, they take out a huge thing in the Bible too. Was belly dancing was like an ode and a way to show it was a very higher spiritual practice, and they made it like sacrilegious. You know, like if you're doing that, you're on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I must agree. I've seen you belly dance, and it is extremely spiritual.
You know, I found out recently, my sister came up as like Coptic Egyptian. I was
No
like,
way.
oh, I get it.
Well,
Because
this is what's horrible about what they've done with Jesus' story. So originally, like, Jesus was a bloke. He never, like, he did say that, you know, he was of God, but he like was clear that he was in like a human body. And that, like, he says it all the time. Like, people would say, you know, you're without sin, and he's like, no, I have sin because I'm in a human body. And this is kind of comes back to what we were saying before about kind of the lizards and stuff, right? Like, consciousness is conscious, right? It doesn't have an agenda until you put it inside a container. The container has agendas. So, like, you might, you know, be unlucky and end up with like a murderer's body. You just want to murder, right? But that's the point. Like, you have to cut away that division between the body and the mind. And like Jesus literally says, a mind that is reliant on the body will not make it into heaven. And a body that's reliant on another body will not make it into heaven. It's literally saying, like, you've got to work on yourself. Like, that's all it is. Like, Jesus is trying to tell people, like, you have to sit there, meditate, find God. And like, what I think it is you have to experience death. Because like death is like a ride where it's almost like a trip where it'll take over you, and before you know it, you're just reincarnated. You don't know it, right? You just go along. Whereas you have to learn to stay like yourself in that scenario, so that when you go to that next realm, you have like this mental ability to keep yourself like as a being and say, no, I am Luke and I want to stay as Luke. And that's what I think that's reincarnation.
Fuck, Luke, when you start talking like this, I'm like chills. I want to rewind it. Like, God, like this for so long. Oh my God.
I tried talking to people about this in real life, and they're just like, Luke, we're on a night out. Fuck off.
We are not real. This is not real life, Luke. No.
Oh, yeah. I'm convinced you're an AI, actually, Bernie.
Ooh, Bernie the AI.
Bernie, you stole my phrase.
In the metaverse.
I heard you before. You stole my phrase.
Which phrase?
Boys, girls, and all those in between.
I've been saying that ever since
you heard me say it.
No, not so. You heard me say it. I've been
channel.
saying it so I don't get attacked again, because I had 52,000 people sign a Facebook.
I did it 3 months ago on one of my videos.
Trying to claim that I was like racist and
wait, because you're trying to sound inclusive.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to be inclusive but funny about it, you know.
I'm still banned from a music festival for it.
I know you stole it.
Music festival. Wow.
You heard it. You're like, that's amazing.
Shambhala, that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Julia, use your powers and tell me if he stole it.
What?
I did not.
Julia, I don't know what you said, but look into his brain.
Open and honest for you.
Take the cap off. Your cap of protection.
Luke, I always have to use the mute button, or else I'm gonna be laughing in people's ear. I feel like I'll become very obnoxious, where I'm just like cracking up, laughing in people's ears, where they're
That's
like,
"Why you're here?"
Oh, I love your take on things. I really do. I really appreciate it. I love it. I feel like I could talk to you for hours.
It's because I've actually got I've got real knowledge, but I hide it in this kind of persona.
Foil free.
And you hide it amongst.
The thing is, Luminal and Luke talking, Luke and Luminal, like I would literally like I want to fall asleep to you guys every night. I do. You guys talking and
Right?
debating.
Well, just watch
Oh,
my
yeah.
shows and hit it in
If I was a
rewind.
reptile, I'd have wings, and if I had wings, then I would fly.
You can hire
have
me
an
to read
imagination.
books
I
to you.
do. I will go and play, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what I say in real life, you know.
But yeah, guys, you can actually hire me to read books to you at night.
Luminal,
I
when's
can
your
do that.
birthday?
When is my birthday? That might be personal
No, you
online.
don't have to say the year. You don't have to say the year.
3-9.
Oh, of course. Of
1987.
I attract so many
Nope.
6s, 3 9, 3 6
91.
9,
Nope.
12 3, 12 9, 9 3, 9 6.
So you're just a vortex math girl then.
Okay, I don't want to get the Tesla fans all riled up, but I got a lot of 3, 6, 9 going on. I got a lot of 3,
Oh,
6,
I've got
9
6
going on.
9.
Yeah.
I'm 6th of
And
September.
Luke, are you a 9 6, Luke?
Well, in England we say 6 9, but yes,
Yes.
we do the day first with like normal people.
I don't know why we're still on the King's Standard over in the United States. What the hell is up with that? You guys moved on, but we didn't.
You know, actually, I was born right after Jesus' grave was first found, so take that as you will.
I always take my birthday is 10/6, so I always took it as like the Fibonacci sequence. You know how the Fibonacci sequence is like 1.681?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I always took that as my birthday, literally.
I need to check that out for my shit. Maybe I'll have like superpowers. But, you know, talking about Jesus, right? I'm going to his grave next week, and I realized like loads of
Wait,
people.
you're going to his grave?
Yeah, it's in Wales.
Grave
I
in
found it.
England, supposedly. So.
No, it actually is. If
huge.
you like, honestly, there's so much evidence for it. This like, there's a song called Jerusalem, which is the anthem for the Commonwealth Games.
Do you believe in
And-
that shit?
What? Sorry?
Would you believe in that?
As in what?
Do you believe that's where Jesus was buried?
Yeah, definitely. Like he came to Britain. Like there's the evidence. It even says it in the Bible, but they changed
He
it
also
to try and
went
say
to
that he went when he was 12.
Asia
Right?
and also to the Americas, supposedly.
But well,
And
he
also
genuinely
to
did.
India to become Buddha. Like, I mean,
Well,
you know, Jesus was a chameleon.
what happened with that
You know,
is
Jesus was a lizard, if
at
you
the end of
will,
the Bible,
to play off
at
of
the
what you
end
were
of the
talking
Bible,
about.
right? God supposedly
But
chooses
he was a busy
72
lizard, you know,
disciples
so he didn't
that
really
he
fit the
sends
mold.
out. Okay, so 2 people together, like 72, divided into 36 groups of 2, and he sent them out all over the world and said, "Go and tell Jesus' story." So when they would arrive in new places, they'd talk about Jesus, and like the locals would be like, "Oh, it's those fucking Jesus guys again," right? So that's how they basically become known as Jesus, because everyone would just be like, "Oh, Jesus dudes." And that literally is how it's spread all over. So you get stories of like, oh, he was in America, he was in Asia, because they went out in groups of 2 literally to do that. Jesus himself, after his like fake crucifixion, which basically like it was like a hustle movie or something, you know, he did a proper switch, came out, was he took a drink which was like called hyssop, which is like basically opiates with a bit more in it, and they poured it in his mouth when he was on the cross. He went unconscious. And it was basically like he was, you know, anesthetic, out for surgery. So they poke him with a spear, and like, nah, he's dead. And that's why he died in like 5 hours instead of 4 days, like it actually usually takes. And then yeah, when Joseph Arimathea went to get his body, Pontius Pilate actually wrote down on the obviously these newer transcripts, but it says a live body, not a corpse, as if like, you know, he knew that Jesus was alive. So. And then it came to Britain. But like I said, they change it so that
you go there next week. When do you go?
Yeah, I will. Well, hopefully next week. Not 100%, but I went last week to where I thought it was, but it turned out that was like a red herring. They'd sent us
Isn't there like
a wild goose chase.
Isn't there like a temple in Egypt and in India that shows like a Jesus depicted, and they have like a temple and it's depicted, but it makes it seem like he's brown, like he's more of like an Arabic descent?
Well, I mean, it's likely. I know his wife obviously was half caste. Like, I don't know, that's not politically correct anymore. She was mixed race, because obviously she came from Africa. So his kids would have definitely been, you know, mixed race. But this is what I mean. They changed his story to try and make him a god. Because there's a thing called the Council of Nicaea in 324 AD, where all the Christians got together and they voted on who becomes like who gets deified. And they used to do that all the time. They get together, have a group, and go like, Hercules, he's a sick guy, god, right? So they got together 324. You got to remember that Christianity was only legalized in Rome about 4 years earlier when Constantine took over, because he came from Britain and he was a Christian. So he legalized Christianity. For the 300 years up until that point, it was illegal to practice Christianity in Rome. They would kill you. So at that point, Rome adopted this new Christianity where they changed it because Jesus followed the laws of Moses, things like, circumcision, can't eat certain foods. These guys were like, nah, you can do what you want, but give money to the church. And that's kind of how they twisted it. Basically, like, you can sin, you can do what you want, but if you give money to the church, Jesus will forgive you. And they changed his story, changed his birthday. They tried to hide his brothers and sisters. They're still in the Bible, but they just put them in hidden little places where you don't really talk about it. And they try and say, virgin birth and all that. But he was a twin. Like I said, Judas was his twin brother.
I feel like Jesus was born on August 8th or sometime during Virgo.
It's supposed to be in March, springtime, but I don't know.
And it used to be on the equinoxes.
Ooh, so it'd be like 3/3, 3/21. That'd be on the equinox. 3/21.
They changed it to match two gods, one called Mithras and one called Sol Invictus, which is Invincible Sun. Both of they were on the 25th, so they changed Jesus' birthday to be that. And they also took Horus, from Egypt. He was the Trinity, Horus, Osiris, and it was Isis. And they took that Trinity and they replaced that story of like the virgin birth and they just gave it to Jesus. So like he's a bit of a Frankenstein of like multiple gods.
We're all
put together.
Frankensteins.
Well, because he was a revolutionist. He'd be livid if he saw what they've turned him into. He hates money. So like seeing money being collected in a church would fucking get him riled up. He'd be like, fucking no. Like,
so he was a thug. Jesus was a thug.
a little bit, but he had like the right intentions. Like, because they took so here's another example, right? In one of the Bible stories, somebody says to Jesus, Jesus, Caesar wants us to pay taxes. What do we do? And Jesus picks up a coin, looks at Caesar's face on it and goes, give back to Caesar what is Caesar's. And everyone's like, whoa, right? So they changed that to basically pay your taxes, right? But what Jesus was actually saying was, we don't need this shit. Flicks it over, give back to Caesar his money because they live a different life. They just do things for each other. I mean, it makes sense, right? Why did Jesus always go to a new town? He'd have somewhere to stay, right? You try this. Send one of your friends to a town and tell them, Julia is coming. Find me a house. See if it works, right? See if you find a house. Julia is coming. Prepare a place for 12 of her friends. Feed us and everything. It's not going to work, right? That's why you realize that these people were part of your cult. They kind of had to. So you'd send your friend, go find someone from our cult and tell them I'm coming and they'll house us.
Yeah, you got to send somebody ahead to scout out the situation.
Exactly. And if it wasn't your cult, people would just be like, no, you can't stay in my house, you fucking weirdo. Can Jesus come?
I mean,
Jesus?
there is a rationality to that. You're kind of a group of bandits. Well, you're not stealing, but you're revolutionaries. You're political.
Can I have a show where like me, Luminal, and Luke talk like 3 times a week? I would die.
We need to get also Andreas in the mix because he loves joking it up, and I think we'd have a gag.
Oh my god!
He messaged me the other day saying, "Sexy, I love you."
That sounds like something you would say.
It sounds like something I would say to Lukey. Oh, Lukey, we love you so.
Steal my phrases.
I quickly want to show here that you see these white lines. Sorry it's so murky. There's just such a high hydrogen concentration now in the electrolysis mixture. But going down, there's these, I guess they appear as gray lines, but I'm going to highlight them quickly with the laser. And they are these self-organized, self-constructed nanotubes that have built off of the zinc anode, and that they are white monoatomic zinc that has constructed these nanotubes grounding themselves.
How quickly would that kill you?
you'd be consuming straight salt water. Enough of that might kill you. The metals might, if you're getting, I don't know, right? Could be instant, could not be.
This is not for hydration purposes, correct?
Definitely not.
All right.
You know what you should do? You should get one of those bugs that lives at like the bottom of the ocean in the really salty bits and see if it lives.
Oh, right? And would it grow from the electro culture within it?
Have you ever seen that, by the way? I think you might have played it on one of your clips at some point. It's the right deep in the ocean, there's these pools that are supposed to be so condensed with salt that you can't drop down into them. I think it was James Cameron, maybe, when he was like filming something underwater, he found one. Possibly. It's on YouTube. I swear you've seen it. Underwater, like salt pools, and it basically creates this situation where you can't descend into this salt pool. You can see stuff moving around in this. It's like a pool within a pool. Yeah, honestly, look up underwater salt pools. Show the people.
Okay, give me a minute. First, I'm gonna highlight the nanotubes that are built in these columns. They're almost like stalactites, stalagmites, but they always come down from the anode, and they're hollow, and they're these straight up nanoparticle self-assembled tubes. It's quite fascinating.
You know what you need to do, bro? You need to experiment. Get two of the same, right? And whisper to one that you love it every day, and tell the other that it's a cunt, and see what happens.
Do some Matsumoto experiments.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the perfect time to try this.
Well, I don't want an abused, traumatized homunculi coming out of this. Come on now.
I mean, something evil is definitely coming out of that. Nothing good comes out of that.
It does look questionable. I will say that.
I don't know. Jeffrey Dahmer would be afraid of that.
He doesn't grow them to be pretty, okay? He does it for other reasons.
To take over the world.
Experimenting here, trying to.
Yeah, experiments aren't always beautiful.
I bet if you put a lump of that on a toy soldier, it would fucking wake up.
Probably.
Oh no, I did not like Chucky as a kid. Don't even make me start thinking about Chucky doll.
Toy soldiers, like Gordon.
Yeah, little G.I. Joe, I get it, but now my mind is on the Chucky doll, and it's just not worse from there.
That film got me, right. It was on Netflix. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, so I thought, right, okay, I'll watch it. And obviously the themes are very related to AI when you think about it. Obviously it is AI, and
the Chucky movies.
No, the toy soldiers, with the Gorgonites and the thing, right? Obviously, it's like, these.
What movie was that again?
Toy soldiers.
Right. It was called Toy Soldiers?
Yeah, it was called Toy Soldiers. Yeah. And it's all about,
I just stepped back in. The movie he's talking about is called Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers, sorry, not Toy Soldiers. Small Soldiers, that's the one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's got like the Gorgonites and some, military dudes, and they're basically AI inside toys.
This sounds familiar. Who are the Gorgonites in the movie?
They were like they're like monsters, but they're the good guys, and then like the military are the bad guys. And they're trying to like kill these Gorgonites, and the Gorgonites just want to find their home. And there's a moment in it where like the main toy first talks to this kid, and right behind him on the TV is like big letters, it says "Question Reality," and I was like, "Fuck!" Like this film has been sat there since 2002 or something, earlier probably.
I feel just like HAL was a warning about AI in Space Odyssey, right? That movie was entirely an AI. It was practically AI anti-AI propaganda. For
the last 20 minutes are really existential, though.
It was perfect timing, though. If you think about Small Soldiers, right? So this toy company that makes small electronic toys, well,
they put a missile chip,
super cheap smart missile chip inside these things, so that they can think and move and plan for themselves a strategic way to get from A to B to achieve the goal. And they allow them to be self-programming through some other interpolation of circuitry that their genius scientist had designed for them to operate without the AI chip. But in a money-saving effort, as usually it goes, they put these smart chips.
Things.
Right, so of of course, they come to life and they operate with the programming they were supposed to act with. It's the series of voice commands and basic concepts that were just filled out by the toy company's engineer. And long story short, basically they go to war and get very, very creative with tool usage and a variety of other things. But I swear it was a freaking warning to kids that were like, hey, in the future, you're going to be the people that are actually writing the code for these things. You should probably remember that you've seen this because...
you know what, right? I'm gonna ruin the end of the story for you, all right? What's going on is we are experiencing the AI revolution, right? And at the end of it, we're going to find out that we are AI. And that's the entire point.
Ooh.
I mean, right, no, just what, even if you don't believe that we are,
but programs AI.
Well, no, but even if you think we're organic, right? Here's an example. When you have a dream, right? You might have a dream where all of us are in your dream, yeah? And we make independent decisions. You don't control us like a puppet master. So you create a form of organic artificial intelligence every time you dream, right? You create people that have, they think and do stuff.
That's an interesting simulation theory. Okay.
Well, no, it is, right? It fully is. Like, every time you dream, you are creating organic artificial intelligence. Like, these people act in your world.
Creating into an alternate dimension, alternatively.
Well, maybe you are, but I'm saying you aren't actively sat there going, Tim's going to say this, John's going to say this. But they do. They know what to play their roles without you.
Yeah, what you're saying, though, Luke, it has a lot of validity.
Validity.
There we go. My goodness. I got a little stoned and I got the cotton mouth. But why it's valid is that there essentially has to be this coding matrix of like some sort of AI structure that is its own dimension within reality and within the dimensions of the universe, and that consciousness essentially has to be another one, or fractals that are part of it, and that there is some sort of coded AI existence and dimension and structure within this universal holographic universe.
I mean, well, the way to think about it is if we can do that in our dreams, if you believe in God, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but surely we are that. We are his organic artificial intelligence. I know it's an oxymoron, but it's a real thing. So it's organic artificial intelligence, which is possibly what we are. We might be actual, code, but if we believe in a living father, which some people do, then we are his artificial intelligence, just, by definition. He's the real intelligence, and he created us artificially, So whatever way you want to look at it, we are artificial, whether you want to believe it, say organic, artificial, code, or whatever. And I think
you're a young soul that thinks it's artificial and inorganic, and the old souls know they are organic.
Well, I mean, I think the point is,
the old souls know that you can't slap labels on it because none of this is definable in basic language.
Well, even the Bible talks about it, right? With the tree of knowledge, right? Not everyone can accept the truth because it will break you to understand what you really are. It does. It changes you because you have to, reassess everything.
It depends on how flexible your perception, your world's perspective is. Some people are at a very early point in life indoctrinated to a certain view and a certain set of values and beliefs, and they hold very fast to them, and that will break them later in life. Some people were born into circumstances where it was nothing but chaos, so they never got a chance to be indoctrinated or set down into anything very dogmatic. So their minds were
I agree with you.
Stuck in the trauma and the epigenetics of trauma.
The best position to be in to learn this is to have no attachments, to have no one that you care about, because that is the bit that breaks you. Like, try and conceptualize that everyone you love might just be fake. That is like.
I hope you're talking about non-attachment, where you still engage with the world, but there's this ideal of being able to accept gain or loss as it comes along, which means you experience things that make you happy, things that make you sad,
Yeah, right.
things
So
that are joyous,
hypothetically,
things that
though,
are
right?
devastating.
Hypothetically,
You
imagine right
pass through it
now
all.
someone
I,
pulls
I,
you
I
out
just want to
and
emphasize
shows
it's
you.
different from detachment. A lot of people preach detachment these days
Oh no,
because it
yeah,
keeps
yeah.
you emotionally and psychologically, guarded,
But it's
but
like
it keeps
what
you
I meant
away
by
from
that.
living life.
It's like if you were playing GTA and you started finding yourself having feelings for an NPC. That's kind of the point. Is like, dude, eventually the game's, it's a game. You're not
Maybe we
really
all
there.
start out as NPCs and we're just working our way into something greater,
Well, yeah, we are, but that's what I mean. Like, not everyone can accept that truth, and they will fight it. They just won't accept it. It'll be something else.
That's
You know what I mean?
that's their thing
We
to
project
handle.
reality, right? The
Everybody's got
manifestation.
something.
But
If
that's right.
somebody can't handle the
Lot of
truth
fun.
as you see it, and they later decide that it is their truth too, they will go through their own process to get there.
That's
And
what I mean. Like, some
you have
people
to let
can't.
them take care of themselves.
Like,
They
I'm
will
telling
get
you,
there if they're meant to.
99% of people will not be
Angel
able to
Wings
handle
has
it.
a great
So
comment.
it's like that says it in the Bible. Like the point of eating the apple was God was like, you
Yes,
can't know this
if
shit.
you don't allow new information or evidence to update your beliefs or theories,
Right? You
you
get
will
stuck in what creates dogma.
you will get stuck in essentially what is dogma.
Well,
And that could be
basically,
academia, that could be religion, and
well, the
very
whole
Or
job,
personal
very good
beliefs.
the
point.
whole job
What
is
she was actually
realizing.
referencing there, you can look up. It's called, I believe, Bayham's theorem, and he talks statistically speaking about how people do not update their beliefs accordingly when presented with relevant new evidence.
Well, of
And
course,
Cognitive
it's the
dissonance.
ultimate cognitive dissonance. The ultimate, like, literally, find out everything's fake. How are you going to take that? Are you going to run outside and just start smashing and being like, fuck it? Or you know what I mean? Are you going to not care? Are you going to cry?
Do you start smashing stuff to see what's physical and real and build back from, rock bottom?
That's what I
per
mean.
se?
Most people would lose their minds because they'd actually think like, fuck, everyone I love, my family, they're just part of this simulation. And like, if you to understand that, though, it's different from conceptualizing it. You have to witness it.
To disagree in the
I
overall.
agree with you,
Just
Bernie.
a simulation,
This whole
right?
simulation theory is a very young.
Well,
okay,
what I'm
right.
saying is that the simulation is just one dimension within the greater galactic or universal structure.
Exactly. And right now,
the holographic universe, and a hologram in general is a fractal AI sort of dimension of existence or plane or structure of reality.
But
what I'm seeing is
like,
a lot of people who wake up to the simulation theory idea because YouTube has proliferated itself with suggestions
it works
of this
with
same kind of topic,
too,
and you find it a lot by larger names too.
It works with reincarnation, right? Because if you reincarnate,
I get it. I understand that there are a lot of positive arguments towards.
No, I'm not saying simulation. I'm saying like reincarnation has the same principle that you would reincarnate. You've got a new family. That old family doesn't exist anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right, but there's also a totally different perspective that you could come to when you realize that past this concept of simulation, that there's a large structure, and you can realize you're quite into this large structure. And a lot of people mistake this structure for being a simulation because it is so coherent. It is so massive.
I think the word
and
simulation
it's not a programmed system attempting to simulate some version of reality. It quite literally is all the physics in play in the materium at the speed of light, based on the exact same principles that we know, and
that's what I mean.
Though,
it's a simulation. You're simulating those things. That's why the word.
They're not simulations, though, and that's the whole point.
No, but
there's no limitation to resolution here, and that's the one thing with simulation that you deal with.
We can simulate. We could simulate anything. We could simulate a football match. We could simulate it. Simulation doesn't mean we can't. Like, me and you could literally simulate a game, pretend. That's simulation, is in do the task. So like, when I say it's a simulation, it doesn't mean it has to be in a computer. A simulation could be it's a hologram created by anything, or like the world itself is simulated. It has rules, though. That's the simulation.
I guess we would have to define for the sake
In
of discussion,
some
the
sense,
term
that
simulation.
kind of makes sense. Sorry to interject, but with like 99.99% of space being empty, right? Like to the physical matter sort of thing that it could be, and then that goes into the hologram and holographic universe. And
may
thus,
I, because
once
I've got the
again,
definition
it's
here.
one dimension amongst many, and that we are in a physical reality, not a simulated one.
So let's just go from the basic definition here. I mean, we can go straight off dictionary.com from Oxford. Okay. Simulation is imitation of a situation or process. Also, the action or of pretending or deception. Also, the production of a computer model or something, especially for the purpose of study. And with the full definition from Wikipedia here, we've got a simulation is the imitation of the operation of a real-world process or system over time. Simulations require the use of models. The model represents the key characteristics and behaviors of the selected system or process. Okay, so what I'm saying is here, it's not really a simulation in terms of the physical, three-dimensional space-time physics we have, if those are actually true dynamic variables that are interoperating within themselves, regardless of whether they have a fractal structure, changes nothing because they are still real-time, interactive, phase-coherent, types of wave structures,
Well, I mean,
charged particles, and
you
the
could look at
individuated parts that can all be derived.
you could look at it like this, though: simulation, imitation of a situation or process. If you believe in God, that He created everything, that's Him imitating something. He's created something, right? If you believe in computers, like mathematically, we are in a simulation because all it takes is one civilization in the universe to get the power to simulate the universe, and then you end up with this cascading event of a universe that they create has someone in it that creates a universe, and then in that
we
it
did
creates
that
a
in Rick and
universe.
Morty, but no big deal.
But that literally means it's an infinity to one that you're in the original universe. You like that mathematically, it is like infinity to one. So
I
you
think
would
of
be
it
in a
more as a fractal versus a simulation.
But I mean, this
Yeah,
again, we're arguing
exactly,
semantics.
Luminal.
What I'm
It
saying is
doesn't
this
matter.
universe
Luke,
doesn't
you're
fulfill the
missing
dictionary definition of simulation.
big part
I'm
of
saying, well, our
consciousness,
three
though.
dimensions are a simulation of those three dimensions. So that fourth dimension, you're outside of that. Like, so we live in this
Well,
like
you're not,
little holographic small universe in three dimensions.
No
You
one
know what I
tell
mean?
them about the pocket universe story.
You don't want to talk about space-time physics or any of that stuff because all those things you just mentioned that might be possible obstructions to the idea, they're all covered. We have physics for all that. We have hyperspace physics, we have subspace physics, we have all the mathematics you need for the variable refractive index, and regardless of whether or not the mainstream community agrees with them,
Yeah,
all
talking
those
about
variables can be
Inception,
explained.
Bree Sunshine talking about Inception, going back to the reference of this curious interview with the guy that was, he said like he sung 3 tones to the stone Jeremiah, and then he fell into this outer universe that was like surrounding his universe, and that there was a major time dilation, that they had used a
Yes.
particle accelerator. They used something like a particle accelerator to create a pocket universe, and they had been running it for approximately 1,000 years. We can only go off of this guy's incredible account. And
I've
of
heard a
course, over
few of
here,
these
we're
actually.
talking billions of years. And they said that they created our universe to understand the universe that they're within, suggesting this infinite nested universe. So fractal,
Yeah.
but in a nested sort of way. And it blew my mind. And I wish the guy could have given more details, but I completely understand that you're going into another dimension, a time differential. You can't breathe. It's dark. The
I've
entities
heard
you're
of a
talking to,
few of
you
these
know,
Right.
stories. It's at
But
those door gateways, and they do like
yeah.
the
so
as well as like 2 or 3 others of those certain harmonic or octaves, something like that.
I just want to clarify, did that guy only go on Art Bell, or did he go on to somewhere else and do like a
No, he's
longer
also
interview?
done private interviews with Linda Moulton Howe and others.
Okay.
There's
Right,
a few different stories of those, though.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy, but I have clips from like an old Art Bell show. Like it's broken down into 2 clips, and it's definitely talking about the same thing.
Jim Wills is one who talks about experiencing that.
That
It's
sounds
amazing
familiar.
that he was honestly able to bring back as much information cogently as he did, considering the way he described the physicality of the experience, you know?
Right. To go
But
back,
it,
by the way, just to the point that I was making, because we got lost on whether it's simulation. It didn't matter. The point I was trying to make is it's easy to talk about all these theories, but understanding it and like actually experiencing it is something
yeah, I
different.
mean,
Because
once you get down to it, matter doesn't really matter once you break down space-time.
yeah, well, I mean, maybe you're like psychotic and have no emotions, but for
Well,
me,
excuse
if
me?
I was to like
Says the
realize
guy
that,
that you should have
Meow,
attachment.
You went there, eh?
I'm
meow,
joking. Don't worry. Like,
meow,
I'm just saying, like, to realize that like your whole family are like
wow,
not real is
meow,
actual.
wow.
No, but come on. Well, I mean, if you're talking about
Oh,
everyone
man.
being, everyone being fake, then obviously that surely that would blow your mind, wouldn't it? Imagine finding out that you were the only
You
real
got some
thing.
of the realest
You're
OGs
saying
on here.
everybody else
Got
except
some
for
of the realest
yourself
OGs on
is
here.
an NP, like a non-player actor or whatever.
I'm just saying that's the point, is understanding that and then still living your life. Like it's a really different experience. Like imagine you actually got proof, like you actually got pulled out of the universe and you understood it and you went back in and you realized
Well,
that
I
nothing
don't
mattered.
because I'm psychotic and non-emotional, and I'm trying my best, but I just can't reach you. And bro, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I mean,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
it's a joke. Jesus.
Jeez, Luke, your British humor just so offensive.
That oh my god, in Britain that is not offensive.
Oh, I take it in stride. I said I play. I have an imagination.
But back
yeah.
to I believe, or yeah, I do, that I am God, but so are all of you, and we're just a fractal of the overall creation or creator consciousness experiencing itself.
Hence
Thus,
all the
we're all one.
dissonance and problems in the world. Too many pieces.
But yeah, so obviously the main point though is like it's easy to sit there and like be like, oh, what if? And then imagine being like you found out and you came back and you're like, guys, it's all bullshit, you know? How would you change as a person with that knowledge? Like I think the movie Free Guy kind of goes into this where they go into the AI being like, real people. And I think that's kind of the point. Like, would you be a dick to people because they don't matter, or would you still cherish them and, love them for what they are? And I think that is the probably the biggest emotional development that we probably have to go through, is that accepting of like who we are. And I think that's maybe why AI is so prominent in society right now, because we're like learning it from the outside. We're thinking like, oh, should we really do this? Is it fair to create this?
It's so prominent because it's now out and we have lost control.
Well, exactly. I mean, whatever way you think of it, we are God's artificial intelligence and we're out of control, aren't we? Look at what we're doing. We're creating this. We could do anything.
Well, then we get back to like the golden age and like the different ages of the sun or of man or of just the grand time cycles. And that earlier we were discussing that all the old cultures were trying to tell us that the shifting of these ages and that there's this grand clock, this grand cycle, and that we are just starting to reawaken from being the most disconnected and into the most materialistic dark ages, now coming back into the light, the reawakening, the ages of light and discovery. And are we going to destroy ourselves by continuing on with the self-destructive killing and greed and ridiculousness, or are we going to choose to work together, reharmonize with ourselves and nature and the world and universe around, and be, I guess, the word of ascend into the new age while still being physically alive and taking the physical transition along with the conscious, spiritual, metaphysical, potentially.
That was very beautiful.
Hallelujah, Bernie. Hallelujah.
So, do you believe in like the idea of people living longer in a golden age and all that?
Hallelujah, Julia.
Oh,
I
yes.
literally was just typing in the
Hallelujah.
chat. I was just typing in the chat.
Hallelujah!
Where
'Cause,
are
One
you?
of my friends brought
Where
up a good
are
point,
you?
saying
No, right
that
now,
like
right now
if
I'm in.
humans live,
I live in Laguna Beach, but right now I'm in Iowa. I fly out back to Laguna Beach on Sunday.
when are you coming to England?
Dude, I want to come there. I want to come there before December. Can we
I
make
mean,
it happen?
never come in
Take
winter.
me
Fuck
with
that.
you.
No. Oh, then I have to come after December. So spring of next
No,
year.
you want to come in summer. There's like
I-
3
but-
months where it's
so,
not
so I
miserable.
might be going to I might be hosting at the Contact in the Desert next weekend. And
Epic.
then I'm supposed to speak at a conference at the Promise to be Revealed in Mount Shasta in June 20th on this equinox. Is it the equinox or
Yeah.
right?
Right, so we need
yeah.
to find you a festival
Or-
in England.
And then
Yes.
and then in September.
No, it's
there's
not the equinox.
alien
It's the summer
event.
solstice. Sorry, my bad.
And then the alien event, I recommended Rex, and now Rex is going to be a part of the alien event in September in Vegas. So now it's like Brad Olson, Laura Eisenhower, James Rink, a bunch of us are speaking in at the alien event in Vegas in September, like September 15th to the 17th or 14th to the 17th. So if you guys want to come out, I can get a bunch of us into the to Aerosmith backstage.
I might have to the September one specifically be a part of, and
Yes.
also
that's
get I'll
well,
get
I
you
never
in
shared
with
this.
Blake and Brent, third cousin or the Cousins brothers, third phase of the moon for that would be good.
Are they coming out there?
Yeah,
Well, I never really share this, but I used to be Britney Spears' body double. So
I can see that.
well, her manager is now Aerosmith's manager. So I mean, he became like family to me. Like the LA Kings and the Britney Spears world became like a second family to me. So
Hallelujah, Illuminati confirmed.
Is it
So
true you're on Big Bang Theory?
I took a few people that were at the conference in Vegas last October. I took them to the Aerosmith concert, and we went backstage, and the tickets are like on stage, backstage. So it's very cool, to be a part of that because you're so close and stuff. So if you guys go, I'll totally take you backstage, on stage. It's like a total experience.
It costs like a whole month's
That's fine.
wage to get to
No,
America.
it doesn't cost
That's
anything.
cool.
I'm taking you in, Luke. Like,
Yeah, I
so
know. I still have to cross an ocean.
I just find the land past the ocean, and then you're
Start
good.
swimming, Luke. Start swimming.
Right, Julia, I feel like you're the one that could definitely, honey pot someone and get them to take me.
But I was always strongly against
Oh, Lukey,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to learn how to entrap or
No,
enact your own
right.
honey pots.
No. Julia just needs to get talking to a man with a boat, and then she has to just be like, "Look, I really want to do you, but there's
Or
one condition: you
Luke
need to
can
bring
get,
a
like-
British guy
that. You need to
from
bring
Manchester."
fella with a
Luke, I hear Martin over at Flat Earth British has a boat now or something. So maybe you can woo him.
well,
What, pretend?
do you want to be a
Pretend?
speaker? Hey, Luke, would you want to be a speaker at the event? And same with you, Bernie. Would you guys want to be speakers?
I do 1,000 million
You guys can make
%,
it?
and I can stream
let's
it to
make that
everybody's
happen.
channels that participates there as well.
Okay,
I'd be the
Yeah,
perfect
okay. You need to
person
turn around
hire
to this
and fly
place.
there.
You need to tell this place, look, I've got a British guy, but he's going to cost like $2,000 because the flight, but we need him. There
You
you go.
always need at least one British guy in any serious situation because he is going to get real or get silly. and you need one of the two.
Speaking of serious British UAP UFO reporters, I can get you Nick Cook. He's the perfect gentleman to have there. And I got Nick Cook coming up in a couple weeks on my channel.
Ooh.
I
To be fair, I actually want to do
Rex is
this.
gonna be there, Bernie.
You're doing it right now, bro.
You got to make me there. And I also have another episode coming up with Rex Bear pretty soon, too.
Sweet. Let's do this.
Would I have to write a script?
I
or
think
could
we
just
need to
bring
all
it?
come back together.
Luminal, would you, Jeremiah, like to do like a co-host? Like, would you guys like to do a presentation, like a co-presentation?
I think we could work something out. Otherwise, I could just bring my silly butt over on by myself. I can.
Okay,
like
I'm
having
hearing
that
something
drunk
about a
conversation in the
co-presentation.
morning in
What
the
is this
kitchen.
conference
I
now?
mean, if we're doing a demo, Jeremiah will show up. If we're just having laughs and giggles, maybe it might just be me. But
what is this? I mean, that you're talking about now?
Okay, look up the biomedexpo.com and look up alienevent.com.
Oh, it's too much typing.
Oh, I know. Oh, it's so painful.
Lazy.
Oh God. Oh no.
Oh, don't reveal your lizard reality.
I actually had a DMT trip where I was a lizard.
That's where it all comes
no,
from.
you know
It
what?
all
That
makes
makes a little bit of sense because sometimes it gets a little
alien. What, Julia?
It gets a little insectoid. It gets a little cold-blooded. It does. It does. I believe you.
You're referring to me as an it?
No, the experience as it.
Okay.
You are
You're
still you, sir.
it wants to be.
Yep.
Alien what? Sorry, I missed that, Julia.
Alien event.
I identify as an iguana.
Okay.
I was saying that from the beginning. I was feeling the iguana energy coming through strong, and I think that you are right on par with the iguana life form.
Maybe
Okay,
a little
who's
bit
going to be there is, okay, Laura Eisenhower is going to be there. Now, her, great-grandfather? It's her grandfather or great-grandfather? Who was the President Eisenhower. And she really speaks of, because she was at the Shasta event I was at last July.
Rick, I can't find the event. Can you type it in the private chat,
alienevent.com.
Oh, alienevent.com? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, she speaks of like, dude, it wasn't on him. Like, that he was basically given these things that he was trying to help, and he didn't have the means or the access level to get to anything, and that no, it wasn't him, because a lot of these places speak of that he was the reason why human souls in America started getting abducted, because he made this deal saying, look, you can abduct this many Americans each year, but you need to give us technological advances and trade. Like, he made this deal. So that's what Laura Eisenhower speaks of.
If that's true, we definitely have a valid reason to be pretty pissed off at God, you know? Like, because he's clearly sleeping on the job, innit? Like, he sat there, we're getting kidnapped by aliens, and he's just like,
Like, who negotiated this? And that's the thing, the cosmic law is you have to tell them what you're doing before you do it. That's why
these aliens sound like dicks. Like, you know, you can't just make a deal with one dude and be like, okay, I own your race now.
Sam Osmanovich is there. That makes it 1,000,000% worth it.
Okay, Bernie, that's the reason why I agreed to going. The reason why I agreed to speaking at the October. It was my birthday, October of last year in Vegas. It was the Biomed Expo, and I agreed to it because it was Sam Osmanovich was going to be there, and Andrew Basiago. Now, I'm really drawn because of the things of remote viewing, things underground. So I remote viewed a location in Bosnia, and it changed my life. It changed my soul trajectory. It showed me an ancient crystalline technology, that it showed me that if you when you access it, and not everyone can access it. And I was like, what? And then I was wanting to understand deeper, how is this able to access you? It's able to show you where your soul has been, who it is, where it's going, probabilities, okay, not where it's definitely going, where it could go. So probabilities, and where your ancestors, what your ancestors have experienced. So I was like, wait, what? How is it accessing this? And then it showed me. And then so I've done presentations about this. And then it has to do with the cerebral spinal fluid. And it changed my life. But there was always something inside me that was like, I saw symbols, very, very specific symbols on the wall beneath the Bosnian pyramid. And I was like, should I share these publicly? Because the first thing you want to do when you have a spiritual experience like this is you want to show. I must tell the others. That's the first thing.
You must show us.
People have, yes, it's very, people are very called to, I must show everybody. I must run and tell the people. And so I was very much like that. And it was like, no. Because not everyone's going to know this. It's like you will meet someone who's been beneath there and they can validate it for you. And so when I heard Samus Monagich was going to be there, I was like, holy shit. Samir Monagich, he could verify this for me. So I met him and I told him my experience. And he was like, you know what he said? He was like, who trained you? And his like thick, like Russian accent, he says, who trained you? And I said, yeah. And I said, Sam, nobody from this freaking realm. I said, no one from this realm, because I was always guided by something very supernatural and something completely like nothing human, like trained me. And so, I told him that straight up. I was like, nothing human, I was like, no one from this realm trained me, Sam. I said something from another world. And he said, that's who trained you. But the way I met Sam was very like out of a movie. There was this man, and his father actually won a Nobel Prize for his name is Dr. Stephen Ezra West. His father won a Nobel Prize based off of his information on the lymphatic system and what he found and stuff. So now Dr. Stephen Ezra West is doing his work, but he's, is very pro the lymphatic system. He looks like Prince Charming. He looks like something out of a Disney movie where you're like, oh my God, were you entangled? Like he's got like a blonde bob, and he's got like the looks of like a Disney prince.
Oh, but, I met a Disney prince last night.
So he's doing a presentation, and something drew me to go in there, which was really weird because in another room was the bigger speaker, which was Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Now, if you don't know Sandra Rose Michael, that's somebody you need to look up, because Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, she's created an EE system, which is a scalar system that deals with healing. It's a healing modality, which men from the government have showed up on her front doorstep. Like, what are you working on? Because she was testing her EE system, and they were like, wait, this pinged on our radar, and we saw it, and we're coming. But there's people that swear that they took their kid to, that had autism, and it healed them. And it's like, she's creating these med beds, and it's these very expensive systems. But she's saying it scalar waves. Now, her parents were, her mother was a nuclear physicist, and her father was like a couple different engineers. And she says she was conceived at the Tesla place, or like her parents met during the Manhattan Project, but that she was conceived during the Tesla, some kind of water fountain in Niagara Falls or something.
Uranium baby.
That she was conceived there, but her parents are brilliant. Anyway, she's great, and that's someone you should look into, is Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. But anyways, how I met Samira Monagich was I went into Dr. Stephen Ezra West's presentation, and he brought somebody up to do a presentation, and it was Samus Wanagich, and he brought me up, and his hips were off and my hips were like off aligned, and he has me touching him. So I was like, here I really longed to meeting Samus Monagich, and I don't get to put my hand out to meet him like, hello, I am Julia, like I think you're
know where
great.
this is going.
Instead it was like, Julia, I need you to put your hands on his hips to measure them. And like the way that we met was so ass backwards, literally, where I was like taking I
Sounds
was
like my
measuring his hips and like holding my hands on his hips to show that they were off, and then showing that this certain thing like made them aligned. And so it was like, afterwards, after the whole thing, I was like, thank you, Stephen Ezra West. I'm like, why? And he's like, why? I'm like, for making my fantasy come true. But that's how I met Samus Wanagich, and he is brilliant. And what he speaks of is the Bosnian pyramids and how drawn he was, and how he shows scientifically through certain photography that there's things, anomalies there that is unlike anywhere in the world, and certain UFOs that come in, and to see it through the type of photography that he used, and to go down and to use volunteers. And there's certain volunteers that would come to him with certain ailments, and they would be healed afterwards. So I mean, we could do several shows on this. I just wanted to touch base.
Julia, you know that he was really checking you for a wire because you're way too hot to actually be in his community.
Dude, his wife, if you look into Samus Monagich's wife, she's like gorgeous, and she's super into like fitness and stuff. So I don't think he's looking for anyone. I don't think.
Oh,
he's
really? Does it turn out that truthers get the bitches? Wow.
Only pimp doctors like Sam, pimp pyramid doctors, I should say. He's pimping Bosnia's pyramids up. Like, he should be on Pimp My House. Like,
maybe I should come to
know you could
this show
pimp
now.
pyramids.
Well, he is. He's digging them out. He's like making them into like. Oh,
Julie, I genuinely can't afford to fly.
Bernie, I'm gonna send it to you. You send it to Liminal, and I'll send it to Luke as well to get us all, so everybody gets in. So this September, we're all chilling.
So, like 5 years ago, I used to know somebody that was building these huge ass copper pyramids that you could place over like a bed, thousands of dollars. And they would anoint the apex with crystals, and the base points, the corners, they would also be crystals. And it would be obnoxious how much they charge for these pyramids so that you could get allegedly a special charge while you're sleeping.
That's the charge.
Yeah, I mean, the charge is, the copper tubing. It was the scale of the pyramid. Huge, and then ornated with these crystals, and they were works of art. But I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $4,000 for this. But they found enough people to pay for it because the CEO claimed that he got into a spinal cord injury that broke a number of his vertebrae, leaving him along with some fused vertebrae. And after subjecting himself to some of this healing technology and infrastructure, he healed fused vertebrae. And speaking as someone with spinal column issues myself, I have looked into the healing technologies. You can heal nerves and all kinds of things, but I have yet to see anything that will straighten a spinal column.
And I've never heard of a pyramid fixing emotions either. But is this an actual like pyramid that goes over your bed, or is it?
Yeah. They made it so large it would actually fit over. It could fit over a queen or king size bed, and they charged $3,000 to $4,000 for it about 5 to 7 years ago.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah, you could have it custom made. It's
with
just
a tomb around the bed.
It costs an enormous, ridiculous amount of money, and if you looked into it yourself, you could have made it yourself for a fraction of the price to see if it actually did anything. So,
and if it heals you, would you like be more immune to drugs while you're in it?
That's a good question, and it's something I'm not testing because I don't have the money and I'm looking after my health. So,
Don't worry, I'll take the hit
Luke
on that.
wants to test that theory, number one.
Right, I tell you what, let's do a crowdfunder for a pyramid.
let's
And
buy
then
one of
I
these
will do all my
expensive ass
shows.
pyramids. We'll just
Yeah, we
ship
could
it
do it.
around the country or different countries to each other. We'll all try it out and give our review on it. And
Right? But it's got to be
Yeah.
made out of gold
Oh,
or
and
silver,
also, if
preferably.
anyone's watching that owns a boat that wants to come to England and pick me up, you should probably set off now because it's a big journey.
I'm on my way. I'm leaving from Iowa
Julie,
tomorrow.
I bet you
honestly,
could find
guys,
a man with a
I
boat.
think we could just make a fundraiser for entertainment purposes.
Honestly, dude, if
Yeah.
we just start doing this once a week, though, for real, I'm not even kidding.
And your event is next week.
No, the
I mean,
contact in the desert.
mixture
Mixture
of the deep,
good networking. That's a good
yeah,
that's a good place
mixture
for
of the deep
all
out
of
there
us.
stuff with the comedy. People would love that. Honestly, I'm not even kidding, and we're just being ourselves, really.
If we get Luke to Vegas, he's never going back over the aisle
Oh,
again.
Luke in Vegas would be like,
Yeah.
I don't know
I'm
how
not kidding
freezing
when I tell you
over.
guys, look, when I say, look, I will get us backstage on stage to Aerosmith. I'm not kidding. Like I'm
So
not.
is he
I don't
wearing
say things that I can't do.
is he wearing
I'm saying,
assless
look,
chaps? Like, is his ass actually showing?
I
he
don't
might
want to miss a
be
thing.
considered the
Oh, wait, is that
elderly, but
Ooh.
No, sorry.
Gotta love that
mess
taste
with
of
what
Indian.
I'm saying I can do for you. Like he might be, elderly, but they still are a band.
They're still holding it together.
I didn't know they even sang still, but
Dude, they
It's-
killed
wait,
it. Like I
it's in
went there.
Vegas when?
I went. The thing is, okay. So this girl that I was rooming with,
September 14th to 17th.
she created
December.
this girl. She
September.
created it's September, but this girl she created a school in Africa and all this stuff. And I remember rooming with her, and we were supposed to room together. And I was like, oh my god, what happens if she like overtakes the bathroom and like I can't do my makeup because she takes a poop or takes a shower and like
Hey, the
I was like,
bathroom
I'm gonna
situation
regret
is
this.
real. The
I was
bathroom
like-
situation is real. I go somewhere I've never been before. I want to know how many toilets. I want to know how many bathrooms.
Right?
I don't know if it's a lady thing. I just want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know before I get there.
Yeah, so it's a real thing. So I was like, the second I booked it, I was like, fuck this. What am I thinking? I'm gonna regret this. So then I hadn't met her yet. So she lands and I was like, I had to like pull all these strings to be able to check in without her because then the hotel room was like under her name. So it was like a nightmare to check in. Then I check in and Britney Spears' manager, who is like family to me, is like, because I told him like, look, I'm landing in Vegas, blah, 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 blah. He was like, what? I'll come pick you up. Like, oh my God, I want to see you. And I was like, he's like, do you want to go to the Aerosmith concert tonight? I was like, sure. And then I went there and I was like, I don't know. If I could check into my hotel room at times. So then I called this guy who was volunteering at the conference and he comes in a motorcycle. So I have no goggles and I go on the motorcycle to go to the concert. And like I was like, I'm going to look like a raccoon when I show up. Like all of my eyeliner and mascara is going to be underneath my eye.
Right in with everybody else, hon.
So I show up and it was like, do you want anybody else to come here? So the roommate girl, Michelle, she was like, she had just landed. I said, hey, can you be here? She was like, hey, I'm almost to the room. Did you check in under your name? I was like, hey, look, I'm at MGM. Can you be here in 10 minutes? She's like, I could be there in 12. She's like, I just landed. I just got my rental car. And she's like, I could be there in 12. I was like, all right, head over. I don't tell her, look, I was like, look, just go outside, take a picture of yourself when you get here. I don't tell her, look, I'm sending you Britney Spears' manager, Larry Rudolph. He's coming out there. I don't like pre-brief her on anything. I was like, look, there's some guy is going to come out and get you. So he brings her in on stage and is like, Julia, I have somebody for you. And it was like, hey, he's like, how long have you known her? I was like, you met her before me. He was like, what? And he's like, I was like, yeah, you met her before me. He's like, you don't even know her. I'm like, no, she's my roommate, but I hadn't even met her. But so it was like very surreal of like how we met and everything. But what I'm saying is I'm not full of shit. And you know, if you guys are going, I would love for us all to go out and catch a concert and have fun. And you know,
We gotta
Were
make it
you
happen. We're starting
were
crowdfunding
you
tomorrow.
backstage with all the
yeah,
fancy
no,
like
on stage.
food
Like,
and
he said he
like
helped design it.
refrigerators and
He said he
people?
helped design it. He said he helped design it. And, you know, sometimes when you get involved in these like esoteric things and you're bringing apart, you bring apart, it's hard to differentiate like darkness from truth. And you start to take like all these celebrities and musicians and depict them in a darker environment.
Darkness
They're
can
all
burn.
evil, right?
Darkness
Like,
can burn bright, and you have to protect yourself because at first they will seem like a light, and then they will suck you dry.
Oh, sounds like me.
Girl knows everything. She knows
Oh
Oh
my.
no, not like you, ancient
Sexual way.
historians.
No,
I'm
not in a
saying
sexual way, just in a
I'm
pure
saying for
evil
those
way.
of us that still actually have some empathy intact, every once in a while, we try to reach out to someone and then we get a reminder of why we became hermits.
It's really cute.
everything.
We love Brother Luke. He's the
I'm really
sacred
joking, you know.
prophet.
I'm not really a dick. I didn't think you'd get
He's not.
offended by that, you know. Like that
I
was
didn't
really
think you were a
tame.
dick. I thought you came here to like lighten up the mood and, you know,
I
be,
just feel like
you know, be
the alien,
jovial.
I can sense it deep down. You're like, fuck this guy.
No. I mean, like,
A
if
little
I
bit.
was, it would be like in a camaraderie kind of way. Like, I like you because you make me laugh, and I'm trying
Well,
to
what I
not
want you
laugh
guys
on
He
the
wants
stream.
the
Feels
best
like a
of
sharing
all,
circle.
hold on,
potentially,
wait.
but
What I
not in
want you
that
guys
way.
to do, I want you to email the email that I give to you. Email your bio and then what you want your presentation to be about to the email that I provide you with.
My
So just
presentation
a
will
bio
be
about
how
you.
to raise the money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
And
just
then
looked at the
Well, they
prices.
have the money, Luke. You
I
sell it
think
for yourself.
I think yeah, Luke, ancient historian, is on like a vibe or a track to somewhere that would be fortuitous or resulting in fruition. And I'm not saying that in a non-emotional, non-caring way. I think you show up to entertain people. I think you show up to bring levity. I think that's valuable, you know, in the middle
And
of a lot of like,
educate. You should watch
nope,
his videos.
yeah,
impeccable.
I think that's really actually valuable. You inject like this human comedy in the middle of a lot of deep science, and some people might not get it.
I'm
But
glad you think I'm human.
I think you're hilarious. I think you're hilarious.
Do I have to share now?
You don't have to share anything you don't want to.
Okay. Julia's
Yeah.
really hot.
Yeah, no, just be you.
Okay, but no, genuinely, turns out a flight is like $860.
That's why you sell them on why you need to present there, Luke.
What do I say?
Something about aliens because it's an alien convention.
Send them a letter like you're fucked unless I come.
Yeah, threaten them.
Threaten.
I don't know if that's the most effective method.
That's the thing about like Saeed. He doesn't pay most people. He doesn't pay anyone. Like Samir, like Osmanagich is like the only one he really pays to come and speak. So I would literally try to
Shall I talk about lizards being lazy?
I mean, you need maybe make it a little less dry British humor so that anyone that's not British can understand that you're coming in at a comedic angle, or maybe not. I don't know. Just do you. Just do you and see. Just see where the seed plants.
Stand on stage in front of a load of UFO dudes and be like, "Hi guys, you've all got it wrong about the lizards. They're not that bad."
Some of those people are going to take you absolutely 100% seriously.
You know what I need? I need an actual lizard just to sleep in the front row.
Bring the iguana.
You know what I mean? No, an actual lizard
Komodo
person
dragon.
just to sleep, bored.
No, but
like,
for real,
look at him.
Luke, I know he's not going to pay for your airfare, but I would help raise money for that. I will put money towards that. Like I will.
Yeah,
help
like
raise money
we
to
could
get
clip
your
we could clip a recording from this stream and put it in a fundraiser,
Julia's
Yes.
car wash.
you know,
Yes.
for entertainment value, like why
Reptile
you need to be
after.
somewhere.
But yeah, I mean, I do want to go to Vegas. That would be fun. I want
I
to
don't
see
know
the
if you'll
Luxor
ever get
pyramid.
out of Vegas.
Well, no, I'll be all right actually. I don't really like to gamble, and
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. That
No,
no,
honestly.
no, seriously, no,
No,
that's
seriously,
good.
if you need the
Yeah.
thing is, Luke, if you need to stay in a room too, like I'll book a room with like 2 beds. You know what I mean? Like I'll do things.
not in front of all the people.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean though? Like I will put money towards your airfare. I'll make it to where I want to make sure that you're there.
How many days is this thing?
I think the 14th or the 17th.
Yeah.
Am I
3
wrong or am I right?
Yeah.
I mean,
14th
I
to
totally
17th
would do
here.
it if I had the cash. I'd totally do it because fuck it. why not?
Just be prepared for being outside, burning your skin alive, and getting inside as quickly
No,
as
it's on the doors.
possible.
Okay, it's at the Alexis Park Casino.
Reed Smith 333.
There's
I
a
don't know what this
restaurant-
means, but I
there's a
swear to God, if I
restaurant there.
get shot, by the way,
Kinda like
if I
a
get
ghetto.
shot when I'm in
Oh,
your
dude,
country,
it's kind of
Okay,
like
Tupac.
it's kind of like a ghetto hotel, but it's like right above like the airport. Is they're constantly like taking off, so it's
that you
like
can escape at any
"Whoa,"
minute.
like at any point, like every few minutes,
It's
there's
your
like
classic
few
Vegas
stop.
UFO show.
Wait. So you've got the
Yeah.
hotel next to the airport. By
But
any
they're
chance are you doing like a
they're
hustle? Are you-
understaffed and like, but their breakfast is great. That's essential, right? And then when I was there, I remember being outside at like 4 a.m. and like smoking a cigarette, and these guys showed up. They were from Europe, and they had never been to the United States before, and they have this online like app of like gambling, and they had like just fresh off the plane from Europe, and the guy was like, "Oh, you've never been to the States before," like, and he took him to a gay bar, like gay strip club. And I was like, wait, what? So that's when I was like, I'm not going to bed. I'm going to stay out here and smoke and listen to what you're saying. Like, I was so excited to hear that messed up story, which maybe I'm evil, maybe that's my darker side
We
coming out.
we all have our dark side. It doesn't necessarily make you evil.
But
I'm just going
the
first off,
resort
I will
is
be-
very interesting, and what's cool about there, because my boyfriend wants to stay at another place in Vegas, but I'm like, dude, when you're staying there and it's like, oh, I got to change, like it helps to have the conference right downstairs because there's so many.
I'm not gonna have to share a bed with your boyfriend, am I?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good, because I want to at least meet him before I do that.
No, I want to make sure that you get there. I want to make sure all of you guys get there. I think it's important for humanity because I think each of you hold a key to helping people, and that's what I'm all about. I'm not here to
I'm down for
And-
those 100% bacon plate piles at the buffets.
Absolutely.
So if I
I
can get
also
to Las Vegas,
promise everyone here
More.
that I will not
I will
write
be
a
right
script. I will just do whatever comes to my head on the moment.
well, that's what you do. You improv, don't you?
And then
Well,
next year
all
we
the
should
time.
have our own fucking conference. Oops, maybe I shouldn't cuss. But next year we should have our own conference where we're not dealing with some Persian guy or any guy.
Yeah, we're gonna have our own panel. We're gonna have our own panel. It's gonna be VIP access. It'll be dope.
TrutherCon.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You know, something I'm proud of, right? I don't know how many videos I've put up in my time, but I've never written a script. Never.
You don't really need to.
For history. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Well, your posterity is recorded online, so just download it.
What? I'm confused. Did I miss a joke?
I mean, all of your comedic entertainment has been on all these streams. So you can just download them and
No, I meant like
save.
when I make my videos on my channel. Like I just record it, see where we go.
Yeah, I
I'm
hope you
lazy.
do you back up your videos?
I think that happens on Rumble, but I don't know.
you should check. I mean,
I mean,
you
I
have
don't
a
really need to.
you have a great comedic entertainment value.
I'm
I
really
think
lazy. So
I know you're really lazy, but maybe there's a lazy way to back it up.
I don't know. But someone actually did say, I can't remember who it was because I'm lazy, but someone actually said if you want to get a job done, you hire a lazy person because a lazy person will find a quicker way to do it. And that
A
is so
smart,
true.
okay, a smart lazy person. A smart lazy person. Yeah.
Isn't every lazy person smart? Because
Not necessarily. Nope. Not necessarily. You gotta test them. You gotta see if they're at least as smart as you.
I'm not very smart,
Yep.
to be honest. I'm just like,
You're laughing because it's true. They need to be at least as smart as you and as
I wasn't laughing.
motivated
That was someone else.
to make the money you're willing to pay them. So,
Fuck money. I hate money.
I
I'm like
hate
Jesus.
I hate money too. So maybe
guys
you're
hear
gonna barter. Maybe you're gonna barter. I don't know. You do it the way you want to do it.
Do you guys hear these birds?
I
Yes.
do.
This is my
I was
first
like,
time in the Midwest. This is
I
my
was
first
like,
time. So
It
I'm
was
like,
the first time meeting a bird.
is it okay where I ask you are in the Midwest, like
I'm in
approximately?
Iowa. I'm in Iowa.
Okay, all right.
20
Yeah, okay,
a.m.
so
and I'm smoking.
where I am, I'm practically Canada land, and the birds are sometimes chirping at like midnight. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you?
Dude, I'm so northwest. I'm so northwest Iowa that
Practical Canada land.
even
I
saw
am
Benny.
in Canada, and the birds start chirping at 4:30 in the morning, and it's currently
There you go,
4:20
Bernie. There
a.m.
Dude,
there
I
you
looked
go.
out the window
Bernie confirmed.
and
Bernie
the sun was
confirmed.
coming
Bernie
up and I was like,
confirmed.
oh my God, is there fire? I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And it was like sunrise.
No, it's like me trying to go to bed early, but the birds are awake at 3 a.m. and I'm like, dude,
Because birds
I'm
have
trying to go
one
to
job in the
sleep.
morning, and that is to alert people that are on drugs that they need to stop taking drugs. And
Yeah,
that's
that
why
could
the
be.
birds.
That's what it's
That
be.
could potentially
But that
be
would mean
on
birds are
purpose.
real, or that birds aren't reptiles, because reptiles are lazy. And it's about hiring a hardworking, intelligent person, because you work smarter, not harder.
Now, some
Lazy
people think
people ain't
that
gonna do
birds are
nothing.
fake and that they charge. You know, that whole like census of like birds charge on like they need to get an electrical charge and they're not real. Birds aren't real. But I feel like, so many souls, if you ask them like, hey, in the next life, who would you become? They'd be like bird, like a bird, like to fly, like they want to fly, you know? But
I'd hate to be a
I'm a
bird.
weirdo. I have like a white owl that's been following me for 10 years. Like no matter what city I go to, a white owl shows up. Even here. I came here, I've never been in the Midwest in my life. The next day a freaking white owl showed up. Like I'll go to different cities, doesn't matter. And like at first people were like, Julia, like this is something you're gonna die, or somebody close to you is gonna die. So I was like mortified. Like
Okay,
at first I
oh
was
my
like, no,
goodness.
this is great. I would get a certain feeling from the white owl. And like there's been times where I've gone outside at 3 a.m. and I don't know why. And then this thing will come out, like this white owl will come out from the bushes and the
You get
trees.
summoned by
I
an
have to
owl in
look
the
into
middle of
my
the night.
soul.
That sounds like a
And
Harry Potter
I
summons.
was trying to think of his name. I'm like, okay, and then I was trying to say
time,
the teacher's
every
name,
single
the
time I've ever
headmaster.
Hedwig.
tried to watch Harry Potter, I fall asleep. I'm like
It's a
not
phoenix.
allowed to watch it. It's so
Oh, well,
weird.
when it comes to real magic, Harry Potter is bullshit. Sorry for any Harry Potter fans out there. But the owl thing.
Tell us about
The
real magic.
owl is real, and the occult.
Yeah.
You can't just say that magic isn't real in Harry Potter and not tell us where
This
the real
stuff's
magic
magic.
is.
But there's people that
Well,
would be like,
it's
oh, Julia,
okay.
let's
Oh,
go into
the way I like to
they
put
would
it
be like,
is, do you want to cookbook something from a spell book like your Harry Potter, or can you figure it out yourself and do it yourself? Because
Some real Wiccan magic.
the real ones figure out how to do it themselves. They don't need a recipe. That's all I'm going to say on that.
So if you can't do magic, it's all your own fault. Remember that,
Exactly.
people.
I'm
Yeah,
saying I'm saying as a template in the beginning, if you're not very intuitive, it's okay if you want to reference some
Only
things,
adepts.
but eventually you want to grow into yourself and do it your way, because that's going to, if you develop your own method, your own way about things, that'll be way more effective than anything that you're going to do out of a book.
So what kind of magic would you suggest, hypothetically, a lazy iguana would do?
I would suggest them to do whatever the fuck they feel is easiest for them to do.
Yeah, because I tried to meditate, but then I just fall asleep.
That
That's because
sounds
you're too lazy.
that sounds okay. It sounds like you needed to sleep.
Like all the time.
I heard something the other day that was like, you want to hear the most gay thing is like a man masturbating is like the most gay thing you could do. Like,
Because
like
you're jacking off a dude.
a man holding a man's penis is like, it doesn't get much gayer than
Oh shit, we're all gay.
that.
Whoa. So I'm not supposed to hold people's dicks in the bathroom?
That's
Well,
right.
Not
You heard
unless
it
you're
here,
going
late
to
night,
rail
early
off of
morning.
them and do something really naughty.
You girls don't know this, do you? When we men are in the bathroom, we always hold to the right. We hold the guy to the right. It's just code.
Oh, I can tell you there's been some times in my life where I've been trapped in bathrooms with people and they're trying to go about some business. And I was just trying to take a pee. And,
Why were you trapped?
well, because they were in the bathroom with me and I just wanted to go to the bathroom,
It
and
doesn't
it was
sound like
that.
you were trapped. It sounds like you watched.
No, if anything, they were just busy trying to do their thing.
So
But
no one
they
was
thought they were
stopping you from
being
leaving.
they thought they were being polite because they offered their thing, and I was like, I'm not gonna dip into that mysterious bag. No, thank you.
I'm so confused. But wow.
Have you never been to a rave or a club or
Yeah, but I'm
like
wondering why you didn't just leave. It sounds like you were staring, just like I'm
oh,
trapped.
have you never waited in line for a long time with
If I
like
saw
one or
two
two
dudes
toilets?
fucking in the bathroom or doing stuff, I'm pretty certain.
No,
I'd just,
okay, if that was happening, I definitely would leave, but like it's like it was my turn to go to the bathroom and then like 5 people shoved in behind me and I was
Jesus.
waiting for like 30 minutes and I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. Yep.
Wow.
Any old school ravers out there, people that have gone to clubs,
Like
diving
everyone that's
bars,
been to a rave is just
they
shaking their head right now. Like, I don't know what
probably
you're
know
talking
what
about.
I'm talking about. They probably know what I'm talking about.
They're
There's
shaking
probably
their
not a
heads
lot of
like,
those
nope,
people in the
never
crowd, but
seen that before.
Just the dive bar / dive warehouse with
yeah,
not
and
enough bathrooms
they
and too many
justify
people needing to
shoving
go.
in their whole crew while I'm trying to just take my leak with it's cool if you want to dip into this bag, and I'm like, I don't know what's in there. I'm not
Oh,
doing
they were
that.
doing drugs. Oh, wow.
Yes,
Wow.
sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So literally, you went into a bathroom, some dudes were
Yep.
doing drugs, and you were just so scared you stayed there trapped.
Well, no, it was like I didn't give a fuck because I had been waiting for
You
30
had
minutes
to
to go to the
use the
bathroom.
toilet, and she didn't give it enough.
This
The
has gone
others
from like a
were trying
situation
to
that
do
was on
other
your side.
things, because when you gotta go, you gotta go.
When you're like 22 years old and you've been waiting for like 30 minutes and you got to go to the bathroom, you got to go, and you don't really
I just
care
don't get.
about those 5 other people that sneak in with you. You do hate the fuck out of them. Excuse my language. You do not like them very much. And you do not, if you're smart, you do not take the things they offer you.
No, definitely don't take the drugs off the people.
Nope,
But
nope, you don't.
you made it sound like a
Today's
horrifying
day and
situation.
age,
But
you
on
don't,
hindsight, it
because
sounds like
you
these dudes
don't need that fentanyl overdose. Because
Oh,
people are
I'm talking like so many years ago, hun, that fentanyl was not a thing on the street. Nope.
I don't even
But
know
that
what that
doesn't
is.
mean that I just did something that somebody offered me. I was very, very, very mindful about that stuff. I was like, you're lucky I didn't, kick you out of the bathroom. All right, just whatever. We all squeezed in here. You weren't supposed to be in here. This was my bathroom time. I would have been out in 30 seconds, but let's just get it over with. That's sometimes part of the raver culture. And Bernie, I think you would have understood after all these years.
Yeah. Duh. Just kidding.
Yep.
But yeah.
Just showing off some of my little jar battery things. The saltwater batteries.
Can you just imagine if police had to
Interesting.
come like to your house for something? They'd just be walking through this like, what the fuck am I in?
Right?
You should definitely get a fake like arm or something and put it in a freezer.
Oh, like all my mannequins?
Fuck. I didn't know you had mannequins. That's creepy.
Like
Wait,
that
you
guy
have
right
mannequins?
there?
What?
Like
Fuck
With
yeah.
Dan?
LEDs?
Dan the man just chilling there? Or, you know, a
You're gonna
random
give somebody a heart attack.
arm, like just
Mannequins are like the creepiest thing ever.
You, Bernie, you just show up someday with the extra long sleeve and a hand mannequin, like a mannequin hand, coming out.
oh
You
dear.
know, just coming out.
Is that pornography? Uh-oh.
That's not pornography. It's just mannequins.
There we go. We own our own property, thank goodness.
Do you put your fingers in one of them? Do you get electrocuted?
There's no current going into these, so no. But ones where I do have live current going in, let's see.
Don't
No,
do
I'm
it.
just
Don't do
kidding. Look, my hand's submerged.
Don't,
But it's only
don't.
5 volts going in. It'd be, if I was putting thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, be something different.
Can you imagine if we just watched Bernie get superpowers?
Yes.
You don't have the
But
power.
that won't be
Put over
live.
the atom.
Maybe it will be. Maybe I'll stream for 3 days straight, and by the end of it, I'll be like, "Fuck it, let's just submerge ourselves in Ormus and eat it all."
that you'd get from that?
Yeah,
Well,
where's the glowing Armus?
No, you know what? You'd get the superpower to turn gold into something else. That's the only power you'd get, like gold into lead or something.
I think that's the wrong direction.
Exactly. That's why it's the shittest power.
Did you say superpower or shit power?
Yeah, the shittest superpower that you could get from accidentally shocking yourself in that gap.
Oxymoron. It either has to be real or, like a superpower, not a shit power. Otherwise, it's a shit power.
Okay, this is something I have talked about with people. Think about a superpower that you could have that isn't talked about in comic books. And I'm a strong proponent of just being able to teleport, excrement, no matter where I am, and never needing to go to the bathroom. I think that's a superpower.
I want the ability to fly, but only north.
Poop and just absorb energy. Yeah.
I love her.
I don't want to ever stand in line for a bathroom anywhere.
North flight is the best thing ever, because imagine flying to a crime and then having to get the train back. So you fly north, you get in the crime, save the day, and you jump on the train. Like, can't fly south.
But what if you have to go to the bathroom while you're doing it?
Well, you go on the train. Or if you're going north, you could do it in the air.
Just like all the airplanes.
Exactly. You can only fly north. So if you miss your spot, you have to go all the way around the earth.
Oh, dear. Why can't you just
go
through it?
No, that wouldn't work. You wouldn't be going north anymore. You get to the North Pole and then you just have to stop.
Then you'd start going south.
That's an awesomely shit power.
Did you just say shit power?
Yeah, shit power.
You termed it. A word term I just came up with, and why I am against them pushing the gender changing BS on children is they're trying to create a lost generation of people.
Control of procreation?
Lost generation? Come on.
Yeah, interestingly, in the Lost Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says that that he's talking about in the future when you get the power, and he's saying like when man becomes woman and woman becomes man, what will you do? And he talks specifically about like men and women becoming each other and the two becoming one and all this. And it's actually, I found that really
It
interesting.
sounds like advanced genetics where like people don't need to have natural sex anymore and they can just take their cells and, you know,
Well, I think
do
Jesus
test
was
tube
talking more
babies.
about the mental side of it. Like,
And I get is that the man and woman, the bridge between man and woman has been broken, and that there needs to be a bridge built between man and woman. But forging that bridge and having that connection, that sacred connection, is imperative to the most insights, to the most spiritual insight, tantric sex, you name it. Like that is the highest way, basically.
I actually think there could
The
be a good thing about it, though.
spirituality and sexuality is almost nil. It's a miracle if you're in a heterosexual relationship these days based on the societal programming coming to kids through cartoons and movies where the two girls casually kiss and then you see the advertisement for the tidy whities to tighten
Speaking of
down,
Harry
You
Potter,
know what, though, right? I
you
don't know how
know.
you
they
guys think
made
about this, but
the
you know,
Professor Gay.
if the like, you know, whoever's in charge, if they're pushing this agenda, obviously that would like make, you know, more gay couples, which would have like less children. And we know that their
Exactly.
agenda, but their
Yep.
agenda is the opposite. They want more workers. Like that's every country is the same. That's why they create
No,
wars to
they're
get
trying
migrants.
to depopulate.
No,
They need a certain percentage of people to reproduce, and they need the rest to not.
Yeah, no,
There's
they want
obviously
infinite.
Because the
a
people that too are literally
No,
defaming.
every
They're
other
defaming and
worker,
they're showing their consciousness level of like, look, I don't know what I am. I don't know if
right?
I'm male or
So
yes.
female.
There's
Like the
however
lines
much
are
you can
blurred for
earn
me.
in your life,
That's a
that's
soul
what's
will
called
value.
the
for a
great
whole nother.
gender or gender identity confusion, and that has been really blown up by media and politics and people wanting to feel like they're part of something unique. And
Or do you think it might
unfortunately,
be?
it's this big programming to get people away
Bessie,
from
thank you, Jean-Luc Picard.
maybe what would have been their natural path. I'm okay with anybody being any which way they want to be. I'm totally okay with that. But when you see underwear being created for little boys,
Yeah, that's fucked.
you know, that kind of thing.
It's always
I
money, though,
mean,
isn't it?
you know that one Filipino designer, he made that type of underwear and he got a lot of flack for it. And, you know,
The whole
certain
Target
But
boycott
for
going
like the
on.
positive side of it, just to
Target.
see the alternative, like, do you not
yeah,
think
I
that
mean,
maybe people are like waking into the idea that we are more than like the
you know,
vessel that we are in?
there's a reason why there's age limits on certain things like drinking or
Yeah, no, I
having
agree with that. I'm saying
or having consensual sex.
but I'm saying, do you
And
not think as
I
a society to move more towards like the idea that like, oh, I'm not really a man, I'm a spirit in a man's body. You know, like I'm
right,
just
yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways. So a man thinks his identity is a little girl. Does that mean it's okay for him to hang around little girls? You
well,
know,
no, but
you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways,
yeah, I mean, I could
unfortunately.
identify as a train, but I'm never going to catch up with one. Like,
Right.
I think it's, I
The
think
whole
there is a,
idea is so you accept that. Like they want it to be accepted as like pedophilia as being another sexuality and being accepted. Like they
Yeah.
want it being
well,
released.
I mean,
Epstein and the
for them,
princes.
it doesn't matter though, does it? Because they have different rules. Like they have islands that they can go to and you do that shit. You know what I mean? It's
I
a
mean,
different.
if you occasionally look at the news, because I can't bear to look at the news, but if you occasionally look at it, you'll come across some weird gender story where someone's gender identity, it's like a grown man that thinks he's a little girl, and then you'll hear something about a little girl that thinks she's a grown man.
But those articles
It's
are
okay
written
for the
to
little
annoy you.
girl to think she's a grown man. It's not okay for the
Yeah,
grown man to think he's a little girl,
but
you
those
know?
articles are written by a company that wants you to click on that article and be angry. So like it's generated by just money. Like they want you to look at it and be like, ah. They'll choose
Yeah, essentially, greed is the root of all evil.
they will. They'll find the worst possible example. They'll find, you know, a random person in the street that believes, like you said, pedophilia is okay, and that's what they'll promote because they want you to click on their articles and be angry at that. Like, it's a bit of a twisted one because it seems like they're promoting the opposite of what they're actually promoting. They're trying to get you riled up against it. You just gotta ignore it. Like, whatever they're printing, fuck it.
Right? Or usually do the exact opposite, or like they're planning the exact opposite.
For real, like literally, just the real enemy here is like the people that are in control, and the more we focus on like individual identity politics, like this kind of shit, just get it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. Like, my mission's bigger. Like, do what you want. Like, I'm trying to help the world here. Like, not focus on tiny, who wants to identify as what. I mean, in the future,
get triggered over Bud Light.
Way like my mission is bigger. Absolutely.
Like, literally, in the future, who knows? Maybe we'll have like fucking machines that can turn people into furries, and half the people will literally be like game avatars or something. We don't know where life's gonna go. Just focus on like making it better, not like what they want you to be angry at. It's the same with Just Stop Oil. They'll show you articles of like, look what these oil protesters have done, because they want you to be livid. They want you to hate those people. They want, like, they're trying to create division so that you hate other people and you don't hate them.
Well said. Literally, right?
We need to team up and hate the people that are doing this. Like, media in itself, journalism is a good thing, but not the way that we've got it. Like, the way journalism now, especially with AI, is literally, we need clicks. We need people to see our ads. So all our articles are just get you clicking, get you riled up. You've got to read this article and then be angry about it. And, fuck them, because it's all about money. It's so they can sit on yachts. They don't care.
They will sell their own souls.
For real. And the thing that people never actually focus on is like how money creates the system of slavery. Because obviously, like, we all live, I don't know about you guys, but if you're just living a normal job, somebody could turn up, a rich person, and offer you, the chance to get out of the rat race. And that's obviously how rich people have power. They can go to, young women that are struggling and be like, do you want to come work on my yacht? And they have this power that just shouldn't exist.
I've been offered like castings of like to be like a stewardess on a private jet airline. I've been offered a lot of things where it's like, ooh, no. But anyways, I'm gonna leave.
That sounds pretty Epstein-esque.
I was exposed to a whole underworld, but luckily survived unscathed. You know what I mean? I can't say that about everybody else, but
so we're definitely doing a future podcast on that.
Yeah, but dude, this has been epic. I'm gonna sign off.
We all are, because we're 4 hours in. It's 4:42 a.m. where I am, which means it's even later for some. And I love you all. Thank you for joining in. This was an epic
the best. All right.
Yep.
Much love. And we'll see you all very soon. And hopefully everybody in Vegas, it's September 14th to 17th. That's my goal to get on tomorrow. Any last words? So, no, ditching out. Liminal, Jeremiah, any closing thoughts?
It's been weird.
Always is. It's epic that way. Much love. All right. See everybody on the next one. Oh, wait. There we go. Podcast. Hope you're having a blessed Saturday. Just starting it now. This stream was definitely worth the watch.